Guys might be in a cooler place than we are right now, but anyway, we're happy to be racing, and we got 7 races left here, 8 races at Monmouth Park to bring you. Our man Paul LaDuca is down there. Maggie Wolfendale will be out in the heat. I hope she has the kind of wind that they had yesterday to cool things down.
Yes, she's the one out in the field doing all the dirty work for us, so we appreciate it. We're going to go to Monmouth real quick, check in for their first race to kick off that card in Oceanport, New Jersey. Maiden special weight to begin things, 2-turn mile. And currently, we got 3 on the board between 5-2 and 7-2.
Well, I think one of the things to note is the Chad Brown Firster Fazools, a Peter Brandt runner they paid $300,000 for, and the Dam was a solid runner. That one's not taking a lot of money. So that's probably not a great sign. You've got a horse on the rail for Kathleen O'Connell who ran well enough. I think Brook Mesa, the 4, probably the speed in here stretching out for Terry Pompey coming up. And you've got a Chad Brown on the outside as well, who's a big price in Martingale. I would side with Brook Mesa at this point as the speed.
And that's who the public's siding with right now, 5-2. This will be start number 4 for a 3-year-old debut for the Sky Mesa filly. Last couple of starts came at Gulfstream. We saw this filly actually debut at Saratoga. Took money that first time out, did not run all that much that day.
And lost to Candide, who's a very solid runner, and Catherine Wheel was in that race as well. So she ran, she was in against a tough field. Maybe she's found a field to beat, and especially given sort of the lack of money for the 2 Chad Brown runners, is probably a negative. So I think that elevates her chances along with the 1 Lady Lala.
$300,000 Curlin first-time starter Fazools, the 2 for Chad Brown, owned by Peter Brandt. And the other Chad Brown has had opportunities, has burned up a little bit of money, and has not shown a lot.
Yeah, a horse that they spent a lot of money for just has. Now, she was a very short price first time because Catherine Wheel was her entry mate. So she wasn't the one burning it, but she's the one that incinerated a lot of dough in her second start.
That's the 7 Martingale on the outside as we get set to kick off this card here at Monmouth Park. Maiden special weight, 2-turn mile. Matt Dinnerman to get us started.
My Honey Bunch. 2 back. California Roll and Martingale to round out the field. Here's Martingale and Vincent Chevedon. We're ready to go. We're off and running at Monmouth Park. Azteca Stardust blasts out of there, is up on the pace. Brooks Mesa has some speed. Lady Lala from the inside, getting through a tight spot there to come and challenge the front runners. Lady Lala to the lead, entering the clubhouse turn. Brooks Mesa on the outside pressing. These 2 hook up, and they put 2 lengths on Martingale, who settles off the pace in a good stalking position third. California Roll is next with My Honey Bunch. Azteca Stardust, who broke the best, has been taken back to the second last spot. Wasn't quick enough to go with the first 5, is running 8 lengths off the lead, swinging up the backstretch, and a big gap back to the trailer. The first are Fazools as they head down the backstretch. Speedy tempo ensues on the front end. Lady Lala on the inside of Brooks Mesa, right together, nose and nose down the backstretch. A gap of 2.5 to Martingale in the 3rd position. California Roll nickeled along with a half mile to go in 4th. Another 3. My Honey Bunch sent along, not making up ground. Azteca Stardust still well out of it. Fazools has yet to pass a runner. Now passes Azteca Stardust, begins a move. Fazools as they round the far turn. Lady Lala putting away Brooks Mesa, who calls it a day. Martingale begins a run into the 2nd position, coming after the leader. And California Roll sent hard, takes 3rd from the weakening Brooks Mesa. Fazools continues a run from the back of the field as they come off the turn in the opener. Lady Lala cuts the corner, kicks away to a 2-length lead. Martingale chasing hard. Fazools grandstand side, trying to get there from well out of it. Lady Lala approaching the 16th pole of the Chad Brown trainees, chasing right behind. Fazools on the outside, coming with a flying finish. Can she catch Lady Lala? Lady Lala's home. Lady Lala got there. Lady Lala narrowly found the wire in time. Fazools was 2nd. Martingale weakens to 3rd. California Roll was 4th in the opener.
Fazools came from Trenton and made this very interesting late. But in the end, it's Lady Lala hanging on.
And to be fair, Lady Lala was involved in a wicked pace duel. And look at the toll it took on Brook Mesa, who barely made it halfway around the track before throwing in the towel. The number 7 was tired from the chase, Martingale, but Fazool was in literally a different. I mean, I think she was taking a dip in the ocean when they were on the back stretch, and we were sort of laughing, saying, well, that's one first-time star I'm glad I don't own. And she came running, and you could see her starting to kick in. Made it interesting, but didn't get there.
Big, late, and not easy to go a mile first time out on dirt either. One to keep your eyes on next time as we get back to Belmont at the Big A. Pick 4 starts in this third race here. It's a one-turn mile, $16,000 claiming race, and Lord Captain for Linda Rice. Big drop in class and needs it.
Yes, should be noted that Centavo was a late scratch, the number 6, who was kind of the co-favorite in here. Lord Captain's a horse that Linda Rice claimed from Tom Amis. And while Linda was going great guns at Sarah, this horse ran a remarkable race, the 94 buyer, coming back on the late stages and has really not particularly duplicated as the one decent effort. Now, this is a big drop down, 40,000 to 16,000. I think the 5 higher quality is kind of suspect in here. I'm not a big fan of the speed of Chocolate Shake. And as far as Daddy knows, I don't like this horse drawing the inside. If he can get away from the field early, and I'm questionable whether he can do that. If he can, and he gets out in the middle of the track, he could be okay. But I worry about him breaking inside, and I landed on Lord Captain, but he's not taking a ton of money to be 9 to 5 here. Couldn't he have been a much shorter price, especially with the 6 out?
Yeah, and look, you mentioned that one race too. I mean, that was never close to a race like that, never close before or since. That was a complete outlier from Lord Captain, that Saratoga performance against a pretty good one in Colonel Bowman. So I don't think we'll ever see that again, but may not need anything near his best to deal with this field, though. I'm with you. Daddy Knows is interesting. If he can overcome the inside here, he's a 9-time winner.
I hate that post of this horse. He is a horse, and we've talked about this numerous times in the show, that gets very sulky if he's forced to run inside of horses, especially down the inside. He can drift with the best of them.
Keep your eyes on him early, and if he can get off that inside, Katie Davis knows him well. First live action on our FS2 coverage from Belmont at the Big A. Let's go to Chris Griffin.
And they're off. Good speed from Higher Quality towards the outside, and also Lord Captain's in the early mix. Green cap comes Chocolate Shake, who's got early kick as well. Chocolate Shake is now in front, is up by a half length. It's Co-Conspirator towards the outside with Daddy Knows moving through at the rail and now wants to challenge and take the lead. Daddy Knows has got the lead from out of the chute. Chocolate Shake is content to take back to second. Right there in third is Co-Conspirator. The 2 at the back, Lord Captain with Higher Quality at the back end of the field is 4.5 lengths to trailer. The leader is Daddy Knows. Daddy Knows at 2-1 has the lead, went 23 seconds flat for the opening quarter mile. Is in command. It's Katie Davis, and Daddy Knows they're up by 2. Chocolate Shake is right there within range, is tracking from second. Co-Conspirator in Higher Quality has moved up, picked up a spot, is now in fourth. Under a snug hold, nowhere to go right now. Ground saving journey, less than a half mile to go. The trailer is Lord Captain, now being encouraged to pick it up. The favorites at the back of the field, and now losing ground is 5 lengths to trailer, 46.50 for the half-mile time, and they're still chasing Daddy Knows. Daddy Knows is in command and doing it nicely. Chocolate Shake is trying to make up some ground. Higher Quality is fully extended from third. Also trying to rally on Co-Conspirator. Lord Captain's gotta go right now, is still 6 lengths to trailer. Daddy Knows at the top of the stretch. Higher Quality's got run towards the inside, and here comes Higher Quality after the leader. Daddy Knows, Chocolate Shake, and the oncoming strides of Higher Quality, and Higher Quality is still picking up ground. Daddy Knows is still in front, though. It's Daddy Knows still holding him off. Daddy Knows approaching the 16th. Higher Quality trying to push on by towards the inside. Higher Quality inside. Daddy Knows to the outside. 2 Noses down to the line. Photo. Give it to Higher Quality to the inside. Daddy Knows is in that photo. Far back to Co-Conspirator and Chocolate Shake. Final running time, 1 minute 37.21 seconds.
6-1, Higher Quality. Ramon Vasquez for Wayne Potts, the win.
Comes through on the inside, and it's sort of an oddly run race. The number 4, Lord Captain, had no run at any point during the running. While Daddy Knows didn't break that sharply and had to be ridden hard by Katie Davis, was able to get clear on the front end and get out into the middle of the track where she's most comfortable. But the number 5 sort of woke up. Higher Quality, a horse whose form had been a little bit questionable off the claim, but he woke up for Wayne Potts, who's taken over this horse from trainer David Jacobson and gets it done with a very crafty ride by Ramon Vasquez. Tough beat for Daddy Knows, who always, when he runs, he's got a lot of fight in him.
New mainstay face on this circuit, and Ramon Vasquez with a victory here. As you know, even here it looked like Daddy Knows was digging in and and giving his best to try and make this close. Just gives it up late.
He loves a fight. You know, he's got, you know, it's not like he got passed. He's really a fighter, Daddy knows. He's one of my favorite horses running. Fourth of five horses, fourth choice wins the race.
Second biggest price on the board. Yeah, it's 6-1 here. To start a middle pick 4 and about a head in the end. Victory here. 6th win for this 6-year-old son of Tiz Now. As we take a look at what's ahead, presented by Claiborne Farm. Race 6, New York Bred Allowance, our feature, the 8th race. We're fast and firm here. That's presented by Claiborne Farm. And then Monmouth still races 2 through 8 to come. 7th is their allowance feature. They are fast and firm in Oceanport, New Jersey. Let's take a look ahead at our feature. Race 8, 1-turn mile, allowance optional claiming field, and Signal from Noise returning for Chad Brown for her 5-year-old debut.
Obviously, if she can find her form from way back, she's better than these horses, but she left in bad form in her most recent races. This was a good effort down at Gulfstream Park, and an effort that would likely get her the winner's circle. The problem is her form before the layoff was not good. Now, Chad Brown has very good numbers, not as good in the dirt as turf, but still pretty solid numbers, especially at Naira, with dirt horses off layoffs in routes. But she's got to refine that form, and she's going to be a short price. I thought that Pretty Extreme might be an interesting alternative in this race. I like when Linda Rice is aggressive, and she's being aggressive with Pretty Extreme, who has a very good record at a mile where she's 5 for 15 with 3 seconds.
Jumping up from a 40 claiming race where she was a distant second last time out. It's an aggressive move for Linda Rice. And then certainly Dame Cinco going to take plenty of support, stretching out a little bit further, coming off a pretty dominant win, though. I know only won by a neck, but a 79 buyer was a bigger number some of the other numbers I look at.
Yeah, I don't think she's impossible in this race. I think she could win. She's done well at a mile in the past. Whether or not she's going to be effective at a mile at this point is the question mark with her, but her last race was good. And if you're against Signal from Noise, she's the logical alternative.
Yeah, it was back on May 3rd. Plenty of time to recuperate from that effort, too. She's going to be forward for Rick Dutrow. Dylan Davis gets the mount in that race. Beyond that group, would you be shocked if it was anyone else in here?
I wouldn't be shocked if Toned Up ran well and got a piece of it, but the others I wouldn't use. But I'm going to bet on Pretty Extreme.
Pretty Extreme. 4-1 morning line, Les Cano, Linda Rice. That's our feature. Race 8 later today, part of Pick 6. Late Pick 5, that Pick 6 carryover hit yesterday. I think 45,000 would have came back. You can play the Pick 6, Pick 5, all of it by getting signed up with Naira Bets. Promo code for new members, Match200. Punch that in at sign up right there at nairabets.com and play with us all summer long and beyond. Back in the race we just showed you. Looked like Daddy Knows was in command, but all of a sudden, up the inside, here comes Higher Quality under Ramon Vasquez with the win at 6-1.
Yeah, very good good ride by Ramon to get the job done, moving inside, and tough beat on Daddy Knows, who ran well enough to win and too well to lose.
5-1-2 finish owned by Marjorie Crone. Again, Wayne Potts and Ramon Vasquez. Race 4 starts the Pick 6 on this Friday card. 1-turn mile here. It's a $25,000 claiming race, so all for sale, or most of them for that price. And the current favorite at even money with Tetsu coming out. How tough does Bourbon Calling look?
Yeah, well, I didn't love Tetsu to begin with. I think that Bourbon Calling is going to run well in here, and it's not the same kind of drop for Linda Rice we saw in the last race because she claimed the horse for $20,000 and then moved up to $40 and now running for $25, a realistic spot for this horse. I thought only Blake B wiring the field could keep this one from getting the win.
Meanwhile, back at Monmouth, we're approaching the 10-minute mark to post. Race number 2. Let's check in for the first time today with Paula Duca.
Yeah, welcome to Monmouth Park and Paula Duca here in the beautiful weather, actually. A little bit hot, though, on the hot side. It's about in 87, 88 miles an hour, and you can see there's not a lot of breeze out as well. So if you see some horses on the racetrack today, guys, that are a little bit washed out, I expected a little bit. It is a hot day here by the Jersey Shore. When we get to race number 5, it's a good group going on the turf, and a really good group when you look at it. You know, you have Paris Sunrise for J.K. Sweezy. You know, the 5-1 Valdez will probably end up as your favorite, or will it be the 9 in here Main Beach for Chad Brown. He's obviously a main contender in here in Main Beach. First time, ran at Tampa over the dirt and went off at about 2.5 to 1 that day. Didn't run well. Then came back with this effort on the turf and really ran well. Just got behind the 8-ball a little bit and then was really running at Prince of Troy. It just could not get there. But if you look back, you just see this horse was moving well towards the wire. So the main contender in here to beat, and he's a 3-year-old gelding by Into Mischief. He costs $525,000, so he's going to be tough to handle in here. I do think Triumph Road is an interesting horse drawing in. Like I mentioned a little bit earlier, I think Paris Sunrise could be a horse that could take this field gate to wire. And then Chad has another first-time starter on the inside in there, Greg. The one, Vincent Shomno, has been riding a lot of horses for Shug McGay as well. But there's another first-time tire on the rail. So race number 5, a really good group of 3-year-olds running on the turf.
All right, we'll get back to a post-parade race 2 from Ocean Port when we return. Paulie, thank you. 4-5 favorite. The 2 Noble Force for Jorge Delgado. Post-parade when we come back.
Marshalier, standing at Claiborne Farm. Back with you on our Fox Sports 2 coverage. Thanks for being with us on this Friday afternoon. It's brought to you in part by NYRA where you can play all the racing we show you and much, much more. Go to NYRABets.com and bet any track, anywhere, anytime. Let's go back to Ocean Port, New Jersey. Race 2 starts a pick 4. It's a 5-furlong sprint for 2-year-olds, maiden special weight. And it is still Noble Force, the 2. First-time starter at 4-5.
Matty Alva riding this horse for Jorge Delgado. The dam didn't do much running. The one foal didn't do much running, but did pay $110,000 at the OBS April sale for this one. And that kind of money is probably a good indication. The other horse taking a little money is one that worked at March at OBS, the 6 City Time, Paco Lopez, riding for Gregory Sacco. Or Greg Sacco. That's Greg to you.
Yeah,
Gregory.
Don't only call me Gregory if you're mad at me.
I'm sorry, it's Jaime Rendon riding. I apologize for that. Matty rode the first race here. I'm guessing she may have tried to get there, but tough to beat that beach traffic on a Friday.
Yeah, I've tried. It's difficult.
I got to say, I'm impressed by Paul. He looked very, very dapper today. I was thinking, the shore, a Speedo, come running in from the beach,
Well, he's probably spent a little time on the beach, but yeah, he looked very sharp.
Yeah. I'm going to guess he may be as well dressed as anybody at Monmouth, maybe better than anyone. They have like a well-dressed award.
I think I showed you. I was getting text messages from people who watched the show asking where he got his wardrobe that he had at Oaklawn this past spring.
Sure. Many years ago, my dad used to go to Liberty Bell, which when I was a kid back in the 60s and 70s was a thoroughbred track, became a big harness track. In fact, the track where Nick Zito won his first race. And he and my mom went one day, and they won like a couple of the day or something. They bought him lunch or whatever at the track. I remember that from many years ago. That was actually before I understood that my entire life was going to be about horse racing. That was when my dad would say, "Do you want to come to the track?" And I'd say, "Nah, I'll pass."
I still have my Nick Zito bobblehead that he signed for me.
Really?
Before we'd actually ever met. It's very nice of him to do that.
How did he sign it if you hadn't met?
Someone got it for me. He
Really?
signed it and sent it to me, yeah.
Really? He's a great man.
He really is.
Great man.
Even money on the 2. We're going to get to this post parade here coming up in a moment. 6 is taking play, too. As you mentioned, for
Everything Paco has gets bet, right?
Gregory Simon.
I mean,
It's incredible. He's winning at 24% at the meet. Just about 1 out of every 4 races.
yeah. Live mounts and riding well.
Here we go. They come onto the track. We're going to begin in a moment here with Jungle Glow. Chuck Spina, Caravaggio, 2-year-old first-time starter.
Yeah, interesting seeing one in the dirt. A couple of foals did a little bit of running. One ran Byers in the 70s. Second Dam was a good horse for Todd Pletcher.
Warm day in Oceanport. Warm day here at Belmont. Much warmer June we've had. Certainly later in this month than we have in the last few years.
Yeah, well, it is summer.
I like it.
No, listen, I have you got to choose a side. You can't hate the cold and hate the heat. I don't like the cold. I'm okay with the heat.
I wasn't complaining.
No, I know you weren't. But a lot of people do,
Yeah.
and they're like, they don't like the extreme temperatures in the window.
It's weird to me. I come to the East Coast, and it is cold here a lot. I've never heard people who are in cold so much complain about the cold. Thought you guys would be tougher.
I'm first of all, you gave up thinking I was tough a long time ago, Greg. But I don't like the cold, especially for a guy who's lived up in the cold areas his entire life.
Here's the favorite. Makes a pretty good appearance too. That's Noble Force.
Well, the money's probably meaningful.
Gregory Sacco, America's Honor AP first timer.
Yeah, one of the dams. Actually, as I have to, Mr. Papa Giorgio, who won here the other day.
Brink.
Was the first foal from this dam, not taking any money.
City Time, Sacco Barn as well with Paco Lopez.
Yeah, is it Paco money or is it live money?
Well, we'll get back to that. In the 7, St. Erling by Frosted, debuting as well.
Yeah, well, this one actually, the dam was okay. She ran Byers in the 80s. There were a couple of decent turf runners from the dam.
So, yeah, Paco on City Time the 6, but Noble Force. Like the appearance as we go to Paula Duca from that 2-horse, and right now that is a 6-5 favorite, Paulie.
Yeah, and when you look at him, he looks like the horse to beat in here just off that one workout. When you outwork 88 horses in the morning at 3 furlongs, you're moving a little bit. So I would think a horse that's going to probably pop out of the gate like most of his runners, Jorge Delgado's horses do, and try to wire this field. And like you said, Greg, on a hot day, he looked very well, looks composed. He's a nice, pretty big sort. 2-year-old colt by Cairo Prince. And like I said, that worked 2 back. He worked 35-2, breezing out of the gate. And it was the bullet work. What I mean, he was the fastest of that day out of 85 workers. To get to the other 2 first-time starters, I thought made sense in here. I tell you what, the 3 and the 6 are very intriguing. They're both trained by Gregory Sacco. The 6 in here, City Time, a son of City of Light, who's been throwing out more turf horses than he has. But maybe this is Paco money or not, but tends to me, when I looked at the doubles and the will pays, that the 6 is a little bit liver than maybe just Paco Lopez. And I also think the 3 could be live too as well with Isaac Castillo aboard. I like that work too back. And, if you look at some of the other works, this horse has been working steady. So, you're getting 4-1. The 6 is getting bet into this too, actually, to be honest. So this is making it a little bit more that the 6, I think, is very, very live in here, and I think the 3 is live as well. So I'll take the best price out of them all. I'll go with the 3 in here, Greg.
America's Honor for the Sacco Barn with Isaac Castillo, 4-1 right now. Thanks, Paulie.
We'll see. The number 2 has drifted 8, now just dropped back to 6-5. It's just so hard to know. I am not going to try to buck the money. I'm going to guess the one they paid $110,000 despite a lack of much pedigree, the 2 Noble Force. I'll go with the money, but if Paulie's betting the 3, I'm rooting for him.
6-5 remains the favorite. It's been favored throughout, Noble Force. With Jairo Rendon. And yeah, that bullet drill out of the gate, it was 3 furlongs, 35-2. Mig says all the time, I can do a bullet drill, 3 furlongs.
Well, yeah, I mean, the point is that times of workouts are not really relevant, obviously within reason. But, that's why workout reports have become so prevalent, and they're useful with firsters, because it's not how fast
a
or
horse
slow
could be
they
all
worked.
out to get the bullet.
Right.
And
yeah,
they're terrible doing it.
I want to get somebody reliable watching the workouts, and I know a lot of people use the DRF workout reports, and I don't blame them. I have friends that have success with them, and I think it's a good. In some ways, it may be a better way to eliminate than to pick winners. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You see some decent works, and then you find out that they're C workouts, and it realizes they were quick, but they weren't impressive works. It's how they did them.
But, I mean, too, it's tough. There's so much knowledge. Sometimes horses, they're just not great workhorses.
Oh, of course.
Or the trainers don't want a lot from them in the morning. A lot to decipher.
And there are horses that fool trainers.
Yeah.
There are plenty of horses, morning glories. We see them in Saratoga every summer from good trainers that take a lot of money and they just can't run because they work well in the morning. And sometimes they show them nothing. I remember when Kelly Kipp made his first start, and he was one of the great sprinters of the last 30, 40 years. And he set a track record, 55 and change at Belmont. Jean-Luc Samine said when he got off him, it was a Jerkins horse, he never showed us anything in the morning like that. The competition sometimes brings it out.
Yep,
He wasn't
sometimes they
favored.
fool you.
Yep.
Noble Force, the 2, the 1 to beat as we get set for an early pick 4 from this Friday card here at Monmouth Park. Let's go to Matt Dinnerman.
Time. St. Erling to the outside post. Here's St. Erling. Still working with St. Erling. He's in. We're ready to go. And they're off. The babies all broke pretty good today. City Time sent hard for speed. Jungle Glow from the inside is quick. Noble Forces there having to steady pretty sharply out of it was Brink, and City Time also had to take up. Both runners went in tight. America's Honor drops to the back of the pack. A scramble on the lead, and 2 runners emerge from the crowd to kick on with it here. The favorite Noble Force with a half-length lead. St. Erling to the outside matching, and those 2 round the far turn, and they put 5 lengths on the other 3. City Time sent along on the rail. Jungle Glow has retreated and has lost position. He calls it a day. Brink is next. Trying to get going from the back is America's Honor, top of the stretch, and the pacemakers are still going at it, but Noble Force appears to have a lot more run than St. Erling, who couldn't match strides with Noble Force, the son of Cairo Prince, opening up the lead to 3. Now it's 4 with a big, powerful finish. Noble Force is going to break the maiden by open lengths. Noble Force, Jairo Rendon with the early double today. Noble Force powerful in victory. St. Erling was second. America's Honor rallies for third. Brink was fourth.
Noble Force, impressive in the debut. Wins as his price would suggest.
Duel up front, and St. Erling or Sterling, depending on how you look at it. And Greg pointed out Spun Silver is the dam, a good play on words. This horse took the money and was much the best. Paulie's horse, America's Honor, stayed out early, was trailing. Did make a little bit of a run to get third there, so did a little bit of running.
Yeah, unfortunate early on for America's Honor, but yeah, runs on late. As we get back to Belmont at the Big A, and the other half of the entry, remaining half of the entry, that's Mystic Knight. Manny Franco already on the board this afternoon. Let's go downstairs to Maggie Wolfendale.
And we'll actually start with number 3, and here's the longest shot on the board. And you're probably like, why are you talking about this horse for Gustavo Rodriguez, one of 2 that he'll send out in Classic Mark? And I am, because he just looks so different coming off of this long layoff. Now, I'm not saying he's necessarily a win candidate, but he's one of those price horses that I would like to use underneath, because this is a horse that before he went away, it was a voided claim. They opt to, run him for the waiver tag here. And before that, his races were pretty good, other than that, virtually kind of eased effort back in December. And he's one that before, to me, never carried his weight well, didn't look great in his coat, was kind of that long, wispy look. And he just looks so much different in the right kind of way. He's put on a lot of conditioning. He's finally kind of filled out that frame as a 5-year-old now. Coat's tremendous, and he looks fit and strong coming back here. I love his disposition, too. Again, I feel like a horse that is likely to outrun his odds, though probably not reliable as a win option. The 1A who stays in here, breaking towards the outside, is Mystic Knight. He's a bit of a one-pace type. I feel like wherever you put him early is generally where he's going to stay late. And for me, that's not going to be towards the front end today. Last time he was able to do that through slow fractions. He looks very, very healthy, great, resplendent coat to him, but he's a little bit on the heavier side, and I've seen this guy just look a bit more tucked up than what he is today, Greg, coming off a little bit of a layoff.
All right, Maggie, thank you. Coming onto the track, post-parade coming up. Bourbon calling. Linda Rice, second off the claim. 6-5 favorite with Kendrick Carmouche. 2 back in a similar spot. It was a little bit softer, $20,000 claiming race. Won by 4 lengths pretty easily. Here's the remaining half of the entry. This is Mystic Knight outside post.
Yeah, this is a once good runner for Chad Brown and Peter Brandt. He's going to have to run better, in my opinion, in his last start to get it done, which is coming 3 months earlier.
Blake B, he gets the rail for Rudy Rodriguez.
Depending on how aggressive Classic Mark is ridden, he could be the controlling speed. And if he's able to control, I believe he's the main danger of the favorite, and a generous price at 7-1.
Long shot that Maggie thought maybe to use underneath.
Well, I'm going to tip my hat to her if she's right, and he did once have ability. I think if anything in here, he's going to be a bit of a rabbit to help the very slow, bold victory for the same trainer.
Flavien Prat for Gustavo Rodriguez as well, the 4.
He is a bit of a laggard who is not in particularly good form, but he has some races. Give him a chance, especially if it falls apart.
Bourbon calling, deserved. 6-5 favorite.
I think any of the last few races make him weigh the horse to beat.
Drops out of a 40 claiming race as well. Skylander, outsider here, 3-1 for Orlando Noda off the claim.
Probably a clear second best last time with a wide trip when dropped down to a bottom level. Moves up a little bit. If you think Orlando Noda can improve this one up the claim, he has some back races that make him a contender.
There's your favorite. And that patented Kendrick Carmouche warm-up here on the 6-5 top choice. Let's go back to the most recent 2 races back, and this was that win for $20,000.
Yeah, and I don't think that people should view this as a negative drop down for Linda Rice. She claimed this horse for $20,000 out of this race where he won, and she was optimistic and moved him up to 40 the next time. Well, she was right. He actually ran a faster speed figure than he'd run before. It's just the competition was too tough, and he ran a respectable third, and now she's going in for 25. But that's still more than she claimed him for. So if the horse should get claimed and wins this race, when you include the money she made last time, going to clear about $30,000, about 30 to 40,000 in profit, less expenses. So this is not a negative drop down. This is a prudent entry.
Warming up nicely. At 6-5 here. Kendrick for Lindis, a 9-time winner, including that dominant performance 2 starts back. I mean, this horse was going against some very tough performers not that long ago.
Oh, no, he's just a very logical horse in this spot. The 6 taking a lot of money, Skylander. Now, he has back races. His form had sort of fallen apart a little bit, and maybe some are hoping he can improve and get back to those better races. And it's not as though he was running such slow races, but we're showing right now Mystic Knight. I don't know if I trust Mystic Knight at all. We haven't seen him in a while, and I don't know. His last race, even though he won it 3-5, he sure didn't win like a 3-5 shot should, Greg. That's the 6. Now we'll show him. I'm all over the map.
All right. There's Skylander. Yeah, I mean, if it's not Bourbon Calling, those are the two that seem like they're going to pull off the upset, don't they?
Yes. I don't know. I thought Blake B was dangerous. If the 3 doesn't put a lot of pressure on Blake B, and that's a reasonable if, I thought Blake B was a threat to wire this field. I know he's run against cheaper, but he was way over his head last time out. And while he finished well behind Bourbon Calling, he got involved in a pretty solid pace there. So I thought he was kind of dangerous in here if you're looking for somebody else. And I think he's an overlay at 6-1 as the alternatives. I'd rather bet him at 6-1 than Mystic Knight at 7-2.
Tough read, too, for Blake B. 2 starts back. Huge figure, but against very soft company. So what do you do with it? 16,000 claiming in that win.
Those are the kind of numbers that are accurate, but they're unreliable being predictive going forward.
There he is. Romero Mirage will be aboard for Rudy Rodriguez, and then Rudy's brother as the 2 next door, Classic Mark and Bold Victory, Gustavo.
At one time, Classic Mark would be one of the favorites, if not the favorite in here, but his form had obviously dissipated. Now, last time was a sloppy track, and he got involved in the pace. Now, for what it's worth, looking up Gustavo Rodriguez, doesn't have a lot of layoff numbers. 4 to 8 month layoffs on the dirt. He's 0 for 5, but that's a small sample size.
2 minutes to post here in this 4th start of the pick 6. Let's go back to Maggie.
Yeah, we'll check in with number 5 here, Bourbon Calling for Linda Rice. He's one of those odd horses that never jumps out at you physically looking at him. He's very unassuming. He does tend to perk up once he gets out on the racetrack, and he looks fine here. And his last race was good enough. I mean, he sat right outside the pace, and then the race kind of sped up around the turn, and he really couldn't quite keep pace then, but he still tried hard to secure a 3rd that day. He makes sense, definitely on form. He's a consistent type. He's just never one I pick, just because he never jumps out at me looking at him physically. As we move on to number 2, Blake B, projects to be the speed, is acting like the speed. That's what I like to see. You know, a horse that has that early foot, that's bouncing around, that's full of energy. That's exactly what Blake B has been since appearing in the paddock and throughout these preliminaries. He looks great for Rudy Rodriguez here. We'll see if he can sustain that run a little bit better than he did last time when he kind of fell in a bit of a heap, but does get a little bit of class relief here today, guys.
Interesting race here coming up to start this pick 6. There's Blake B, Romero Mirage. Can he take it to this group early and have enough late when Bourbon Calling is going to be breathing down his neck in the stretch?
We'll see. I picked Bourbon Calling. I chalked out in here at 4 to 5, but my alternative would be Blake B, and we'll see if I'm right or if the public's right. They're usually right.
They're pretty good.
They, the infamous they. One day we'll find out who they are.
Manny Franco and Mystic Knight, the 1A, the outside post. Horse who was forward last time out got a win for $32,000. Here we go with a 4th. Belmont at the Big A. Let's go to Chris Griffin.
Who's forward? All set. And they're off. Slow start for Bold Victory, the early trailer. Speed from Blake B. Right out to the front, it's Blake B. and also Classic Mark right there with Mystic Knight joining them 3 wide. Just off of them, Skylander. Wanted to get over to the rail, is going to save some ground, and there's Skylander who's now tracking in 4th. To the outside of that one comes Bourbon Calling, and the early trailer far back is Bold Victory. Just not keeping up with the field right now. The leader is Blake B. It's Blake B, Romero Mirage. They're in front. They're up by 3/4 of a length. Classic Mark, the big long shot, is right there in 2nd. Also progressing is Mystic Knight in the center of the racetrack in 3rd. At the rail, that's Skylander who tries to progress, and Bourbon Calling. And still far, far back, Bold Victory. Can see them all. 23 and 3 for the opening quarter mile as they approach a half mile left to go. And 46 and 4 was that half mile time for Blake B. Pressure from in between horses, Classic Mark, and 3 wide. There's Mystic Knight, who's on the move. Just behind them, Skylander. Dylan Davis looking for a seam, is going to save ground towards the inside. Nowhere to go yet, but Skylander's in fourth, right in behind this battling trio. Bourbon Calling is now called upon for the effort, not cutting in the margin yet. 3 across the racetrack here at the top of the stretch, and they are still battling it out up front. Mystic Knight is trying to push on by. Skylander is taken off the rail and moves towards the outside to chase Mystic Knight, who's taking the lead. Classic Mark is still there. It's Mystic Knight. Skylander just straightening up and in pursuit of Mystic Knight, who's looking for the line, but Skylander's catching with every single stride. Skylander's now pushed on by. It's Skylander who's taking the lead, is up by a length and a half. Skylander gets the victory. Mystic Knight, Bourbon Calling, and Classic Mark in 1 minute 35 and 4.
4-5 favorite defeated, 5-1 on Skylander. First off the claim for the Orlando Nota barn with Dylan Davis.
Yeah, back-to-back Linda Rice favorites that did not run well. He was a bad third, Bourbon Calling, but Skylander, great ride by Dylan Davis, tucked in, waiting behind the pace, and was able to run down the one. Mystic Knight, who actually ran well to be second here on top of a pace that fell apart. But Skylander, he got back to that better form coming off the claim for the Notice.
Fourth career win. Had been 0 for 5 this year, just one in the money finish. That third place effort last start as the favorite against 12,000. Interesting with the hike up in class off that.
I made a big exacta box with him in the winter last time, so I'm understandably excited about seeing him win today. But he definitely ran better. He got a better trip. He got a better trip today than last time. He did not get a great trip last time. He ran today.
6, 1A, 5-3, 4-5 favorite. Can do no better than third. We'll have the prices from Skylander's win here in the fourth when we come back on our Friday coverage.
Spun to Run. His brilliant speed figures were among the fastest of any 3-year-old at a mile or more, and he hails from the legendary Danzig sire line. Now, this multiple graded stakes winner, millionaire, and Breeders' Cup champion is passing his remarkable talent along to his progeny.
95, 5, 200, 200 down, 2, 2. In the back, Patrick, 200,000. Thank you.
Spun to Run, standing at Gainesway.
Experience the adrenaline-pumping, suspense-filled action of the Sport of Kings no matter where you are with Naira Bets. It's fast, easy, and secure. Download the app today and start winning with our lucrative weekly promotions, thrilling handicapping contests, and a one-of-a-kind VIP rewards program. Don't just watch horse racing, be a part of the action with Naira Bets.
They're off in the hopeful. Here's Basin now running up alongside, and Basin grabs the lead. Basin and Jose Ortiz are running away in the hopeful.
There's a big, bold, beautiful world waiting to be explored by you and your friends, of course. But not just any friends, the best of friends. The kind of friends who let you do you. Because in this world, it's positive vibes only. And when you get in the zone here, you stay a while. These aren't just good times, they're the best of times. And your time is now. So come explore. Resorts World.
Good to be with you on our Friday coverage here on Fox Sports 2. It's brought to you by legendary Claiborne Farm. 100 years of doing the usual, unusually well. We've had back-to-back upsets here. Skylander in the fourth. Dylan Davis, Orlando Nota. And you see this horse, lime green, dark green cap tip out here, and looked like he was going to be tough at this point.
Well, I mean, that was a great ride by Dylan, getting great position with him, saving the ground and angling out. It's just the kind of trip you want. Able to run down, especially without Bourbon Calling, running particularly well. And while he ran third and ran better than Linda's favorite in the prior race, he was a very ineffective third.
So Linda Rice, as you mentioned, back-to-back short price favorites getting beat here. $13 for the win on Skylander, who was That was a bold move, stepping up, double and claiming tag price after being a beaten favorite, running a distant third last time out. We're going to take a timeout. We'll look ahead to the weekend when we return. Galabrand, she beat the boys at Saratoga on the grass last summer in the With Anticipation. She gets set for a 3-year-old return in the Wild Applause tomorrow. Stay with us. Back with you on our Friday coverage, America's Day of the Races here on Fox Sports 2. And we went to break talking about the filly who beat the boys last summer at Saratoga. That was in the Grade 3 With Anticipation. Galabrand for Belmont. She makes her 3-year-old return tomorrow on our Belmont at the Big A card in the Wild Applause.
Yeah, and you know, people look and say, well, her figures are light. 2-year-old figures in turf routes are often on the light side, and they'll improve dramatically as 3-year-olds. And obviously she was precocious and she was good, getting it done in her first 2 starts, going short and going long. I thought she actually ran pretty well in the Miss Grillo when she finished 4th. She had an impossible trip that day behind the eventual Breeders' Cup Juvenile Fillies Turf winner, Hard to Justify. While she did not run well against that one at Santa Anita, she had a tough trip, but also it looked to me like something went wrong. And the fact that we haven't seen her now for 7 months, almost 8 months, suggests that something, in fact, did go wrong.
Let's take a look at Rick Dutro's Makanga, who wants to be forward, coming off a gate-to-wire win back on May 5th, oversubscribed. A lot of trouble in this race.
Now, she may be the speed again, but I think she's going to face some other speed, and more than she did in this race. And not to say she can't win, but I thought Oversubscribed ran extremely well to be second to her. Now, watch Oversubscribed, who's outside third to last. Right in here is going to clip heels and be steadied back severely. So not only does she lose a couple of lengths, 2 to 3 lengths, but it happened at a pivotal moment when she's moving into a slow-paced race. To be able to recover and finish second, albeit in a blanket photo for second, is kind of remarkable when you consider the trouble and the incredibly slow pace that held together. So, I mean, I should say incredibly, the moderate pace that held together. And I thought she ran well in here, and I don't love the 9-post. Gallowbrand has a much, much better post drawing the inside, and she has the outside. But if Flavia Pratt can work out a clean trip with her, I believe Oversubscribe will run better. But this is not an easy race. A lot of contenders here.
Yeah, not a ton of room to get over before that first turn as well.
Yep.
From that outside post. With another contender in this race on this Saturday card in the Wild Applause, let's go to Maggie.
Yeah, I think this Wild Applause is kind of a wide open affair. A lot of ways you can go. I'm a little bit interested in Vino Rouge, who made her 3-year-old bow a couple weeks ago against older company, something that a lot of these horses in here have yet to do. And I think she ran respectably well, as she did post that 83 Beyer speed figure, 84, with the effort, finishing third this day with a slightly wide trip. Wasn't a bad trip by any means. And one, though, that I thought she just could build off of. I've always been a fan of hers. I think she's done very well in the interim. And a horse that might be heading in the right direction as she got back to the turf after debuting on it as a 2-year-old. So just another interesting cog in this machine that is the Wild Applause, guys.
Well, we look forward to it. That's coming up, race 10 on our Saturday coverage. We'll see. It's be exciting to see if Gallowbrand can step up in her comeback.
I agree. See if she can come back, see if others are ready to be players as we move forward to Saratoga, where we have, so many, not just the Saratoga Oaks, but the Belmont Oaks, of course, coming up here in a couple of weeks, but also races like the Lake George and Lake Placid as well, where we see good horses come out of them. We'll see what happens in those races.
All right, we'll have that at 5:13 Eastern start time. We're going to head back to Oceanport after a timeout. Jersey Shore 6 coming up, and it kicks off 5 furlongs on the turf when we come back.
Liam's Map, a 2-time Grade 1 winner with 6 consecutive triple-digit buyers, including a 114 to win the Breeders' Cup Dirt Mile. He's already taking the lead as a sire with Grade 1 winners Basin, Wicked Whisper, Colonel Liam, and Juju's Map, plus multiple 6-figure yearling sales and 2-year-old sales up to $1.2 million. Proven on the track, proven in the sales ring. Liam's Map, only at Lane's End.
The Cross Country Pig 5 combines the best racing from New York with top races from around the country in one bet. Find it in your track menu and play every race day. Races are posted weekly at NYRA.com/crosscountry.
RaceLens is the most in-depth product in horse racing with unique features found nowhere else. True odds, predictive analysis, and pace projection. RaceLens. It will change the way you follow horse racing and take your game to the next level.
Gunrunner is the sire of 12 millionaires and 10 Grade 1 winners, including Gunpilot, Vava, Toyota Bluegrass winner Sierra Leone, Champion Echo Zulu, 2-time Grade 1 winner Cyberknight, 3-time Grade 1 winner Taba, track record setter Society, Locked, 2-time Grade 1 winner Gunite, and classic winner Early Voting. Hall of Famer Gunrunner, standing at 3 chimneys.
Breeding in New York State just got a whole lot greener. Starting in 2026 with 2-year-olds and expanding in 2027 to include 3-year-olds and up, New York breds on the NYRA circuit will be offered purses matching the race's open company counterpart. That's a nearly 20% increase per race compared to 2023. Bowling season is in full swing. There's still time to take advantage of New York's better than ever state bred incentives. Visit NYRA.com/NYbreds for more info.
Back with you and back for the start of the Jersey Shore 6. Coming up in the third here at Monmouth Park. 5 furlongs, sprinting on the grass. $16,000 maiden claiming race, all for sale for that price. As the 3 and the 6 co-favorites on the board right now at 2-1. Trying to sort things out and get us through this first leg of the sequence. Let's go to Paulie.
Yeah, and Greg, you mentioned the 3 and the 6, and there couldn't be polar opposites. I mean, they are polar opposites, excuse me. The 3's going to go towards the front end as the speed of the speed. And the 6 in here is cutting back in distance after running some long distance races. So what's going to give here? I do think the 3 Gold Alliance here, this 3-year-old filly for Kim Einhorn, who did show speed as a 2-year-old on the turf, is probably going to be clear in this race. And whether, she's good enough or not, and she's grown up a little bit, I thought she looked tremendous on the racetrack. Nice little gray. Nikki Juarez got her away from the pony, and she warmed up very, very nicely. I don't think there's a question she gets to the front end. It's just whether she has enough stamina. Now, the 8 was taking money early. Delightful Dixie from Mike Deeney. This is a horse first time out actually sprinted, got dead left in the gate, and actually made up a lot of ground. So I think a lot of people were looking back to that. He employs Melissa Iorio, and, Melissa's very good out of the gate. I've been saying this since I've been down here. She's a very good gate jockey. I think that maybe she can help this horse out and maybe get this Daughter of Collected out of the gate and maybe give her just a better shot. She's now floated back up to 8-1. The 4 in here, Welton Girl, I thought ran really well last time, first time on turf. J.L. Gonzalez and Leopoldo Ortega, a filly by Catholic Boy. We know how good he was on both surfaces. So, when you look at this race, the 6 is the horse they're going to have to beat. I mean, at 5-2. Coming out of the Kathleen DeMasi barn, this horse has dropped for the maiden 16, but that was going long and just lost that race. I just don't know if the cutback, she might be just too good for this group on the cutback. We'll see, but I hate to take 9-5 on the 3, but I actually think the 3 might take this field gate to wire, Greg.
Gold Alliance has proven that she is quick, and now they're trying to get even more speed out of her, you would think, with the blinkers going on today. The 3, 9-5 favorite.
And it'll be interesting if the 6 Bold of Paradise can show speed turning back, as she is the only one that's in potential danger to chase him.
Matt Dinnerman with the call start of the Jersey Shore 6.
Delightful Dixie coming up. Welton Girl. Yaloba to round out the field. That's the one. Her Ticket to Ride acting up badly in the gate. The rider's okay. We're going to have a delay here, folks. Stand by. A delay into the running of this race with number 1, Her Ticket to Ride, acting up on the inside post. Stand by.
Oh, we see the 1, Her Ticket to Ride, coming out of the gate. We have a delay. Let's go to Paulie for more.
Guys, I don't think I've ever seen this happen before. Maybe the 1 turned himself around in the gate. I don't think I've ever seen that before in my life. And he was acting up, flipped around, and kind of, it just shows you how nimble they are. But the 1, I don't know if you guys noticed, turned around in the gate. So I think the utmost importance is the veterinarian and the health of these animals. Now they're backing everybody out. I would have to think the 1 was a scratch. You talk about horses being nimble. I've never seen a horse do a 360 in a stall, Greg.
And late change. The 1 is going to come out. So Her Ticket to Ride scratched, but walking under her own power there with an outrider. That's good to see.
Yes, as long as she's okay, that's all we care about. And the Beatle fans will have to wait another time to bet this horse.
Indeed.
It's actually one of my favorite Beatles
great
songs.
song.
Love that song.
All right, so back to the barn for Her Ticket to Ride, who is going to make her turf debut coming up. It's, 3's not favored. The 6 is the favorite, cutting back in distance. I got to be hard-pressed to think that she's going to be anywhere near as quick as the 3 in here.
I don't disagree with that. I think she's a much better horse, though, than the 3. It's interesting. The pace projector in time form has her sitting right outside of her. It's hard to imagine on the cutback she will be, but I have seen a lot of pace projectors I've disagreed with over time, and frequently they are right and I'm wrong. So I'll be interested to see if, in fact, the 6 can be close to her, because I think if the 6 is close to her, she will beat her. I don't think you'll disagree with that.
No, I agree with that, but 3 will be in front. Like what? It's right or off the 2,
be in
by the
front,
way.
but it has it close.
Yeah.
I'm saying if the 6 can manage to stay close,
Yeah.
I think it'll be very hard for the 3 to beat her.
And you looked at those first couple of races, too. Sprinting was against better, a lot better.
Yes.
And she was competitive.
But she wasn't close to the pace.
Right.
And she's involved in sort of slower paces going longer. I was surprised the pace projector had her as close as they did, but I have learned not to argue too strongly against the pace projector, Greg. I argue against people, not machines.
There she is, 9-5 favorite. She's making her first start of her 4-year-old campaign, but they got to catch the 3 with Nick Juarez. Let's go back to Matt Dinnerman.
Delightful Dixie will be second to last. And Yaloma to the outside post after Delightful Dixie. Still working with Delightful Dixie. Delightful Dixie's in. Here's Yaloma. We're ready to go. And they're off. Gold Alliance, the first one out of there, and goes right to the lead from the onset. Strides a length and a half in front. Delightful Dixie picks up the running in the second spot. Yaloma is third. Lady Trixmeister is next, along with Welton Girl, Bolt of Paradise, and Denim and Lace at the back of the pack, running 8 lengths off the speedy runner up top. Gold Alliance, who hits the far turn with a 2.5 length edge into that turn. Delightful Dixie, a clear second, a length and a half to Yaloma as they start to string out. Bolt of Paradise into the third position, getting closer on the fence. A gap of 3 to Denim and Lace out of last, takes the 5th position, has a lot of ground to make up. The others have been outrun as they come off the turn. Gold Alliance challenged by Delightful Dixie on the outside, and Delightful Dixie breezes to the front, ran right by Gold Alliance. Bolt coming on, Bolt of Paradise on the outside into second, but Delightful Dixie loved the Monmouth turf today as she opens up and finishes with plenty of run. Delightful Dixie well clear. Bolt of Paradise was second, Denim and Lace gets third, Welton Girl was fourth.
Delightful Dixie with a big finish late here after 2 prior starts against tougher. Maiden 40 had not shown a whole lot. Dropped down in class, big difference.
Much the best here. It felt like the 6th in good position. Did not have the speed as you predicted to stay close, Boulder Paradise, but got in good position. As Rendon looked to win the first 3 races, but no chance catching Delightful Dixie.
All right, we'll get back there with prices momentarily. Post parade for the 5th. Starts the late pick 5. Here's Joey the Fish with Abnel Boca Chica.
She is going to need a lot of pace, and she doesn't appear to be in a race going to have one.
Gringotts, pretty good effort last start to get a neck victory for 10,000.
Where did it come from, and when and if will we see it again?
Does not win a whole lot. Trade Secret, 7-5 favorite.
Well, the board is saying that every horse the note has run is going to win. Now, we saw them improve off the claim last time. This horse lost to Gringotts, who's 22-1 and is 7-5 today. If you can make sense out of that, you are a much smarter man than me.
Wayne Luzzy's suspended campaign went by. Here's Slack Tide.
I like Slack Tide. She is in a race where she finally can control on the front end. Rivera is supposed to send her and hope for the best. She's a much different horse to lead than without it.
There's Awesome Anne Marie at 5-1 with John Velasquez.
I believe she should be the favorite in this race. She's 5-1. She is the worst to beat, in my opinion. She blew the break last time, and my 5 to Slack Tide just went from 11-1 to 5-1 in one pop.
Ouch. My First Love, Dylan Davis, Wayne Potts.
She's a drop down here, and she's got race that can win it. And maybe she can't run anymore, but I box 5, 6, 7. I want the 5, 6, 7. I want no part of the 3. Maybe somebody knows something I don't, but I don't see it in the PPs.
Tactical speed at least with Maravilloso.
I'm just a little afraid she's lost the good form she had earlier in the year.
And Flavian Pratt on Jolly Miss Jill. Rudy Rodriguez first off the claim.
And one time she'd been a contender in here. Her recent form says otherwise.
All right, so let's go back to Trade Secret. 6-5 favorite. Obviously, with this man aboard, the value will be gone. That's Arad Ortiz Jr.
Wow. What is going on here?
Got beat by Gringotts last time out, who's 27-1 right now. And she's 6-5.
I'm dumbfounded. I mean, I know they overbet Irad here, but this is absurd. I mean, she was the 7-2 morning line. No, second choice. The 6 was the favorite. She should have been. I mean, does Irad just make them go 5 lengths faster? Is that what people actually believe? She lost fair and square to Gringotts last time, who's 28-1. Now, I'm not saying that she should be a shorter price than Gringotts, but a 7-5 shot that lost to a horse when they met a month ago, and the one she beat her is 28-1, and she's driven 8-5. This is nuts. They bet a horse. She did run second in the second race for Irad that should not have been the favorite.
That's not the only time Gringotts has beat her, too.
This is outrageous. And I'm going to tell you something else. Unless you believe the Nodas are going to start performing magic off the claim, and I know they won the last race off the claim, and maybe they're on a big streak, but they don't have great numbers off the claim, and this horse is moving out of a $10,000 claiming race. This is nuts, in my opinion.
Maggie, make sense of this for us.
I don't know if I can. I can't. Not with this level of horse, with, horses that I've just seen too much. And, at the end of the day, they all just start looking the same. But let's check in with a horse who's coming in off a bit of a layoff. And while I have no problems with Trade Secret on the appearance scale, number 5, Slack Tide, I find a little bit intriguing because, if anything, she's a little bit of a new face in this mix, as well as number 7, My First Love. She's a drop down too. But Slack Tide, I just looked incredibly fit. First off the claim here for Pat Reynolds, who's trying to get her to rebound off of that kind of poor effort last time out and puts her in a realistic spot. I like the way she's moving out on the racetrack. Got a really nice warm up with Luis Rivera Jr. aboard. Really kind of took her away from the pony, got her moving. And I don't mind the 7/8 distance, because while she's never gone quite this far, she's definitely gone 6.5. She's a bit of has that elongated back to her. I just find that this physical makeup is really well suited to the 7/8, as the horse who just looks best overall is a price in here who I do know is pace compromised. I get it. And that's number 4, Suspended Campaign, though she was able to win emphatically last time when she did get that pace set up. I just found a random sticker on my dress that my daughter put on me before I left the house. Always fun. She's dappled head to toe. She's so confident. She's so healthy looking and moving really, really well. So I'm just going to take a shot in a field where I don't particularly love anybody. And Greg, when it comes down to it, she just looked best.
All right, Maggie, thank you. 2 minutes of post here in this 5th. Late pick 5 again starts here as we look again at Slack Tide.
I like Slack Tide here. She is a horse that has only run well in her career when she's been able to control on the front end. And unfortunately for her, she's been involved in some wicked pace situations. Now she's in a race today where she is absolutely supposed to be the controlling speed. Only a bad break or rider error will prevent her from being the controlling speed in here. I like speed horses at 7 more than 6 because invariably the paces are slower, making it easier to wire the fields. I think the entire board is askew. If there's a big story on the 3 and she's just going to run better than her PPs, then I'm going to lose. But you can't gamble based on thinking there's some nebulous story that these trainers are going to work miracles. Maybe the Nodos have woken up after about 2 years of not winning a particularly high percentage. I don't know, but I don't understand the price in the 3. I think it's completely baffling. And if she's skewing the board, to me, the morning line favor of the 6, Austin Anne Marie, was correct. She is the horse to beat. I box 5, 6, 7. I want no part of the 3.
4-1 on Awesome Anne Marie, the 6 right now for Peter Walder. Coming out of a 20,000 claiming race when she had an excuse at the start. Strong form at Gulfstream prior to that. But 8-5 on Trade Secret. It was just beat by a 28-1 shot next door in Gringotts, the 2, when they met back on May 25th.
This is wacky.
See what happens. Starts again. This late pick 5. Let's go upstairs. Chris Griffin with the call.
Thank you, Greg. There's My First Love goes in. Metaviglioso. Jolly Miss Jill. Steps forward, goes in. All set. And they're off. Good speed from Meta Viglioso towards the far outside, and also in the early mixes, Slack Tide wants to join the early pace setters. Awesome Anne Marie is joining them. Awesome Anne Marie with a nose in front, but many on the front end. As here comes towards the inside, Slack Tide is going to apply pressure. Metaviglioso is 3 wide. In behind them, there's Trade Secret is in between horses in 4th at the rail. That's Gringotts, who's tracking from 5th. Red Silks is My First Love, who's now in 6th. Up on the far outside is Jolly Miss Jill, who's now going to be 7th, as the leaders are tightly bunched. The 2 at the back, Joey the Fish, and Suspended Campaign. At the rail, it's Slack Tide, 23.33 for that pressured opening quarter mile. Slack Tide takes him into that far turn. It's Slack Tide who's a nose in front. Right to the outside, Awesome Anne-Marie is ready to challenge. In between horses, Trade Secret, My First Love is making up some ground. Metaviglioso is going to be 4 wide in that second grouping as Gringotts starts to lose some ground. From the back, Jolly Miss Jill is tailing off. Also, Joey the Fish, Suspended Campaign. The leaders are still there. It's Slack Tide who kicks on towards the inside. Slack Tide. Awesome Anne-Marie not going anywhere. Awesome Anne-Marie now puts a neck in front. Trade Secret in between horses trying to muscle on through. And My First Love on the grandstand side. It's still Awesome Anne-Marie finding. Awesome Anne-Marie is in front. My First Love is trying to pounce on the far outside, but Awesome Anne-Marie just keeps on going. Awesome Anne-Marie is almost there. Awesome Anne-Marie, that's your winner. Awesome Anne-Marie wins it over My First Love. Photo there, Trade Secret to the outside of Slack Tide in 1 minute 24.43 seconds.
Awesome Anne-Marie, that's the 8th win of her career for Peter Walder.
You can make money at the racetrack, not necessarily because your opinions are good, because if you pick horses that pay $3 and $4, you got to pick a lot of winners. But if the public mixed bets a race, you can get $9 on a horse that we made very clear was the horse to beat and should have been favored. And I boxed 5, 6, 7. The 3 might have nipped the 5 for 3rd. I'm not sure. I'll never know what they were doing betting this 3 like this. It seemed absolutely nuts. She got a perfect trip. She might have gotten her nose down and gotten 3rd, but it was 5, 7.
She went off
6,
3
7.
to 2.
6, 7 in a very logical order of finish. And I mean, this is crazy. And if they're going to overbet IRAD like this, you have got to be ready and waiting for these situations, because IRAD can't make them go faster. He gave the 3 a perfect ride. She got a perfect trip. She might have nipped the 5 for 3rd.
We've seen a couple scenarios today where races have just been badly misbet.
Yep.
Before we came on the air. In the opener.
The opener, there was a 2 to 5. Now, you and I talked about it, and look, in my picks, you go there, you can see what I picked. And even the second race, and the horse did run second, but they're and all of the horses were IRAD's horses. And this is not a knock on IRAD. IRAD is a great, 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 great rider, but he's not going to make him go faster. And I think he's as mystified by the prices as we are.
It just shows you how respected he is and how much people put into where he lands, because he's that good. But
it's horse racing, not jockey racing, and jockeys will tell you that. I mean, IRAD, as I've said before, has asked me, why is this horse taking all this money? And I've said, you.
7 to 2. Awesome Anne-Marie with John Velasquez. We'll be back.
Quality at his core.
And Core Beliefs will come on and win it nicely.
By leading sire, Quality Road.
And here is Core Beliefs to take the lead. Core Beliefs on the outside. Here it is. Core Beliefs.
All the best attributes of his sire. A multiple graded stakes winner who's proven at the classic distance with tactical speed and a must-see physical.
It's Core Beliefs who digs his heels in to win the New Orleans Handicap.
Core Beliefs, standing at Walmart.
Back on America's Day at the Races on Fox Sports 2. Awesome Anne Marie. Morning line favorite somehow goes off at 7-2. And John Velasquez, Peter Walder come through for those that back this one.
I was just texting with our morning line maker, and he said, well, you know, this one I got wrong. I've gotten the morning line favorite right all day, but not in this race. And I said, I don't know how you could possibly have gotten this right, because there was a horse in this race that was 3-2.
He didn't get it wrong. Everyone else did.
Yeah, that lost. Well, his job is to get the line right. It's not a picking, but, you know, this horse had lost to a horse in the same race that went up at 35-1. And this horse was 3-2. The IRAD money is wacky.
6-7-3 finish. 7-year-old mare picks up the 8th win of her career. Pretty healthy early pick 5, too, over $4,100. As we get set for the late pick 4. By the way, I didn't give a welcome. Welcome to those who've joined us. They've been with us for a bit now on Valley Sports SoCal in San Diego. Good to have you with us. Those already with us on FS2. Race 6 is a mile on the turf. It's a New York bred allowance optional claiming field and wide open betting race. Favorite in here right now, 7-2, rough drafts. Johnny V looking to go back to back. More on this field.
Tough race.
When we return from a timeout, there he is, 5-time Eclipse Award winner. And he's chasing Manny Franco here, trying to pick up another riding title before he heads upstate to Saratoga. Can he get it? Stay with us.
And they're off in the Curlin, Florida Derby. After 3 quarters in 112-1, Known Agenda is now on to take over the lead. It's Known Agenda for St. Elias Stable. Florida Derby winner, Known Agenda.
Experience the adrenaline-pumping, suspense-filled action of the Sport of Kings no matter where you are with Naira Bets. It's fast, easy, and secure. Download the app today and start winning with our lucrative weekly promotions, thrilling handicapping contests, and a one-of-a-kind VIP rewards program. Don't just watch horse racing, be a part of the action with Naira Bets.
This proven son of Giants Causeway has sired 7 millionaires. With over 10% stakes performers, his recent top runners include Tarabi, placed in the Grade 1 Spinaway and Breeders' Cup Juvenile Fillies, Grade 2 winner Plum Ali, plus these standout performers. A proven value sire, First Samurai, standing at Claiborne Farm.
Racetrack Television Network brings you every race, from every track, on every screen, every day. With monthly packages starting as low as $5, RTN gives you great value and access to more live HD streaming and race replays than anyone. Visit RTN.tv today to sign up and watch on almost any device, including Roku and Amazon Fire. RTN has packages that start at $5 per month.
So War Dancer is a yearling that we bought at the Fasig-Tipton sale in 2011, and then he took us on a journey beyond our wildest imagination. He was just always an honest horse and a smart horse. There was an allowance race in Keeneland where he got held up at the gate.
And they're off, an awkward beginning for War Dancer, who broke in the air and is absolutely last.
And then it's, oh, bad start for War Dancer. War Dancer's in the back by 12 lengths. And then all of a sudden, boom, he comes flying and he wins the race.
War Dancer, bold challenger positively. War Dancer, bold challenger. War Dancer, unbelievable.
Then when he retired, I said, oh, why don't we stand him stud? It'd be easy. He's by Warfront. He's made over $1 million. He's a graded stakes winner. And then we started down the journey of making him a stallion in New York, which possibly the hardest thing I've ever done in my whole life. I'm originally from New York. My husband's originally from New York, so it was pretty much New York or nothing. In order to survive, I realized we needed a package that was unique. And right out of the gate, we started having winners. 2020, Okay, that was our first crop. We have Step Dancer and Pivotal Run, 35 to 1 and 49 to 1 on Labor Day weekend. Wouldn't you know it, we come in first and second. And from there, it just kind of took off, and we've had a lot of success. Miss Big Bucks, she won the Stallion Series. And then 26 Black came in second by like a quarter of a nose in his Stallion Series. And I think we have a lot of up-and-comers.
And they're off.
A couple things I've noticed. They all bust out of the gate. You see war dancers almost get the first call. The second thing is they're level-headed, they're smart. You'll talk to most trainers, they say, I love the war dancers. So he's proven himself as a sire, and quite frankly, in New York, it's all about the racetrack. It's been very, very exciting, and I want to thank everybody who supported us because it was an uphill battle for years until you finally have runners that make it a little bit easier.
And there is one of two sons of War Dancer in this upcoming race here in the 6th Belmont at the Big A. That's Danzig with the Stars for the Dutrow Barn. Guess who's riding? Arad Ortiz Jr.
I picked this one. I copped out an Irad here. It's a very, very complicated race here because nobody's really coming in this race in particularly good form.
And the other War Dancer, Born Dancer. 5 to 1 on the outside. Kendra Carmouche for Michelle Nevin.
Actually, this is one that probably ran best of anybody last time, but I don't know. Tough post in here. I copped out with the 7, but I could see horses like the 2's a big price. Sell something.
More on this one coming up. We're 18 minutes away from the start of the pick 4. Let's get back to Monmouth. And race 4. Start of the late pick 5, 6 furlong sprint. They're all for sale for $8,000 in this claiming race. It's for non-winners of 4 lifetime. Let's go to Paul.
Yeah, you're right, Greg. And a bunch of fillies in here. It's a confusing type of race in here. So we'll start with the one in here, Cupid's Girl, leaving the David Jacobson barn and entering the Wayne Potts barn here. Now, she's definitely the class of this field. When you look at the condition of this race, it's an 8,000 non-winners of 4L, which that means is nobody's won 4 races lifetime. And Cupid's Girl's been in a lot of open company races where there's been multiple winners. Now she drops into the non-4. Last time she was in for a non-condition race in non-3, she won at Aqueduct, and it was from off the pace. And I think that's the key here. What's going to happen pace-wise? Because if you look at the other mare and filly in here, that are the 2 other horses, at least to me, is Meet Me at the Beach, the 5 in here. Now, here's a horse from Charlestown, and for a lot of people who don't know Charlestown, it's a half-mile track, so speed is of the importance, especially going 4.5 furlongs. And Mario Saray, who trains this filly, is having a great meet. And this horse should show some speed or should get to the front end. Coming out of those 4.5 furlong races, will she be able to carry that? You know, she's 0 for 3 at this distance. And that draws me to the 4 in here. Wait a second, for Sammy Camacho and Enrique Hernandez. This horse got off to a brutal start. Literally, it says just bad start. I mean, the horse literally went to his nose or her nose and got back up, and I thought she was courageous. The one caveat in here is if she breaks well, you know, Sammy Camacho's got to make a decision whether he wants to go forward because the 5's probably be very fast, or whether he wants to sit behind the 5 and make one move. I thought the 4 outlooked the field too as well, Greg. So wait a sec at 2 to 1, and Sammy Camacho is my selection.
All right, Paulie, thanks. This starts the late pick 5. See if Camacho can get it done here and wait a sec.
I think by post time, you're going to see the 5 go off as the heavy favorite. I'm looking at the fixed odds, and that horse is under 7 to 5 in the fixed odds. And there you go, just dropped down to 3 to 2 as I was talking. And the 4, who's 2 to 1, is almost 3.5 to 1 in the fixed odds. So in all likelihood, we'll see those race or odds drift towards their fixed odds.
And yeah, the favorite, the 5 here, Meet Me at the Beach, it's Charlestown form. So how's that going to translate here to Monmouth?
I don't know. At 4.5 furlongs as well. They were arguably against some tougher horses, and the figures are good enough, but we'll see. That's the $1 million question here, right?
0 for 3 in the money at 6 furlongs. But 8 to 5.
Yeah.
As they begin to load up, 2 steps in, bullet on tap. We'll cut back in distance. Cupid's Girl taking money on the inside. Matt Dinnerman with the call. It's the 4th from Monmouth Park.
Wait a sec goes forward. 2 back. Meet me at the beach. Forest Maiden to round out the field. We're ready to go. And Lara, Forest Maiden on the far outside wins the start. Meet me at the beach out alertly with her. Wait a sec, dashing forward to take a short lead from that pair. Meet me at the beach strides level with that rival, though, to keep pace with Wait a sec, who leads the way. On the outside, Meet me at the beach right there hounding. Forest Maiden eases off of them in a good stalking position, 3rd in the gallop up the back stretch. Then Lady Yellen 4th to the inside. 1.5 lengths to Cupid's Girl. Bullet on tap drops to the back with a half mile to go. From first to last, they're separated by 7 lengths here. Meet me at the beach, really taking it to Wait a sec on the inside, who's a neck behind now, tries to respond while under pressure, does so, and Wait a sec reclaims the lead from Meet me at the beach. The others are starting to close in now, though. Forest Maiden 3 wide, gets to pounce on the top pair and takes the lead in the 3 path coming off the turn. Wait a sec trying back in 2nd on the fence. Meet me at the beach has run her race. Bullet on tap, grandstand side, up trying to battle for the win here, but Forest Maiden got the jump. Forest Maiden, furlong left as a 2-length cushion, starts to assert her authority, opens up by 3, and Forest Maiden and Gabriel Maldonado, who won 4 races at Delaware yesterday, picks up right where he left off at Monmouth. It is Forest Maiden to score. Bullet on tap 2nd, Wait a sec 3rd, Cupid's Girl 4th.
Forest Maiden picks up the 4th win of her career. Last win came on a sloppy seal track at Parks back in early April.
Yeah, and it was a slop win. She got the right trip in here as the 4 and 5 sort of battled in a ridiculously fast pace and eliminated their chances, and the 6 was in the spot to just pick up the pieces. She ran to the form in the sloppy track race. She does not have a lot of dry track form that's good, but as it turned out, this race just fell apart due to the fast pace.
Back to Belmont at the Big A Mile on the turf coming up to start this pick 4 for this New York bred allowance optional claiming field. Again, great betting race here. Let's go downstairs to Maggie, see how they look.
All right, let's check in with a horse who is actually returning to the turf for the first time in a long time, and that's number 5, Lock and Key, who arguably had gotten very good over the wintertime on the dirt. Now, looking at his kind of turf races, they were okay. They were actually better than his dirt races at that point in time. So I'm wondering that now, because he appears to be a better horse, if he might like returning to the turf, because honestly, he looks much more like a turf horse than he does a dirt. And because he has those very slack pasterns, very flat, wide hoof to him. And honestly, this is one of the better times I've seen this guy appear. He's usually one that struggles to carry a lot of weight because he's a little bit of an awkward, kind of very angular frame with a elongated back. And sometimes I know very well that horses shaped like that do tend to struggle to carry that weight, and especially, you know, through that latter half of their back, their SI, they tend to be a little bit more hollow. So I think he's really, really intriguing getting back to the turf today, as we'll check in with some who have more recent turf form, including number 1, King of Comedy here for Mike Maker. He was kind of hard on the bridle for the first half of the mile in that return race back on May 24th, where it's all coming together, was able to wire the field. He continued on a somewhat wide journey, and then when the race kind of sped up, when they went into the second turn, he kind of couldn't keep up, and he was well beaten. He is a heavier bodied horse where I wonder, well, I wasn't in the paddock for that effort, if he just needed it. He's one that I've always thought was very appealing in all of his races physically. He's got that big cresty neck, very round, robust type of horse. So I'd give him the benefit of the doubt here. I think he'll run better here second off the bench, and kind of history would suggest at that too. Also suggests that maybe he needs third off the bench too. Moving on to number 6, that's Let's Go Big Blue. We'll check in with the 2 gray runners in here. For George Weaver, this one, going back to his barn, he's also second off the layoff and coming out of that common race as the aforementioned King of Comedy. I really like the mile for this guy. He's tried it 3 times. He has a win and a 3rd place effort. Well, he's a horse that never really grew up in stature. He's a horse that's filled out, and he's kind of that quintessential miler's frame. A little bit more compact, kind of just everything's rounded out on him. Great energy here in the paddock too. I think he'll move forward as well, having that 1 start under his belt. He kind of, he was towards the rear in that race, and he got steadied / checked at the quarter pole, and then he made another mild rally up the inside. A good effort to build off of. As we'll also take a look at number 8, Cable Ready, who returns to New York bred company after breaking through in his first turf try. He taken a great trip that day and didn't run badly either in the Pennine Ridge. So subsequently, I think he looks fantastic. He's really, really fit now. Good energy forward. I'm not one, Greg, that tends to be attracted to gray horses, but both of these gray horses in this field really making excellent impressions in the flesh.
All right, our post parade coming up. 5-2 favorite, Danzig with the Stars, one of the War Dancers with Arad Ortiz Jr. There's the mount Arad will have. Winner 2 back at 1 1/8 at Aqueduct on the grass.
Yeah, I mean, listen, the best horse, if you all were going to run their best race, then Danzig with Stars would win this race. But he was wide last time and did not run particularly well. This is his win 2 races back. He would beat this field with this effort. But he's a little bit suspect, and that's the problem. Look, you've got Sell Something on the rail. He could compete a little bit off his race 2 back. He was a little wide last time. He did no running. Rough Draft, the 3, he's a little interesting, but I worry that he was in some pretty sharp barns in the past, and I wonder how long he can hold his form. Bar 14, our friend, the 4, he'll probably be in front, but is he really good enough to win? Okay, Maggie has some interesting saying about the 5, Lock and Key. I couldn't bet him, but he's 20-1, so I'm not going to knock those thoughts. Let's Go Big Blue. He was once good enough to compete. His recent form is atrocious. He was awful last time with a rail trip. Cable Ready's run against some better horses, but I don't really think he's quite good enough to beat these. I just don't see, I don't know, I don't trust anybody here.
Here's our post where we start with the remaining half of the entry at 12-1.
Well, King of Comedy did absolutely no running last time, and his only good race was he got loose on an inside gold rail and set slow paces.
He breaks second to the outside, by the way, the rail to Sell Something.
I thought he was a little bit interesting second off for a live barn, but he's got to run a lot better than last time. A little wide or not, he was bad.
Here's Rough Draft, 2 back, a winner at Gulfstream.
Probably get a better ride than he got last time, this time from John Velasquez, and he's got races good enough. I just don't trust he's going to hold his form.
Can he hang on at the distance? Bar 14, 0 for 3 in the money at a mile.
Yeah, but he's run some decent races of the turf before, so he's not the worst long shot, and he has the speed.
Lock and Key trying to hit the board for the first time on the grass.
Listen, Maggie thought some good things about him. I don't see it, but I'm not gonna go against her thoughts, and he's a big price. If you want to bet him, bet him.
Let's Go Big Blue, George Weaver, Jose Lezcano.
He's second off a layoff, but his form dissipated at the end of last year, and he was awful last time. I mean, awful.
Danzig with the Stars. Here's the favorite with Arad Ortiz Jr.
At least he was a little wide last time. He's better than these. I picked him, but I don't have a lot of confidence. And it's not a barn, the Dutrow barn, that's been going great guns lately.
Facing a lot easier, though, right?
Yes.
Cable Ready, 7-1.
He comes out of a very weak Pennine Ridge with a slow pace, where he's run okay, and he's improved the turf, and he gets a nice rider switch.
And the other War Dancer, the 9, Born Dancer for Michelle Nevin.
At least in his case, he ran a respectable race last time. But he also had an inside post and a very cozy trip. Now he draws the far outside post where it's going to be harder to work out that kind of trip.
5 minutes to post here in the 6th. Belmont at the Big A in our Friday program. There's the favorite, Arad Ortiz Jr. for the Dutrow barn. Danzig with the Stars, 2-1. We'll be back.
Introducing a stallion as top class as they come. In 22 career starts, he won or placed in 12 graded stakes, competing in 15 Grade 1s, earning over $1.7 million. His undisputed speed is evidenced by 7 100-plus Buyer speed figures, a 3-time Grade 1 winner, Raging Bull.
Back with you on our Fox Sports 2 coverage. Regional networks out in Southern California. America's Day at the Races. It's brought to you in part where you can play it all at NyraBets. Go to nyrabets.com and bet any track, anywhere, anytime. 6th coming up. Mile on the turf, and Danzig with the Stars with that big drop in class here. Rad Ortiz Jr. will ride 9-5 favorite, the 7.
I'll tell you what, this horse at 9-5 versus Trade Secret at 3-2 in the last race, I would say this horse is a better bet, and maybe some of the IRAD people have tapped themselves out. I picked this horse, and I'm not proud of it. But I do think that he was the likeliest winner at the end of the day. But I will tell you, the 2 is a bit of an overlay at 20-1 in here. I'm not sure why he's that big a price, but he's going to have to run better probably than he's ever run to win. But that's a big price.
Just a consistency issue with him, isn't it?
Yes, but he did improve in his start for the new connections last time out. I mean, 2 times ago, and he was awful last time. He was a little wide, but he was bad. I don't think he's supposed to be 20-1. That's all I'm going to say.
Rough draft, too. 6-1 on this 3 with John Velasquez off since April. Let's go back to Maggie.
Yeah, and we've seen John Velasquez kind of, make an impact these last few weeks of racing here, as he does have a new agent, and Kieran McLaughlin. He will be representing Johnny as well as Luis Saez up in Saratoga this year, so looking forward to that matchup. But Johnny will be aboard here for Fernando Abreu, who did just win a race down at Gulfstream. He was trying to watch it, but these horses were going out, and Johnny's looking back at him whilst in the paddock office like, aren't you going to give me a leg up? So he had to run out, and I had to give him a play-by-play of him winning the race at Gulfstream. But rough draft, I think, actually exits a race in which there was some quality in there. So now back in against New York breds, I think he fits quite nicely with this grouping. And considering he's coming off a little bit of a freshening here, looks incredibly fit. A horse that in the past hasn't necessarily always done so. So I think that's a good sign. And like you said, Greg, I think that's a more than generous price at 6-1 on him.
Yeah, it seems so. We'll see what happens here. And if Velasquez can keep things going. There's the 9-horse outside post for Born Dancer, Kendrick Carmouche.
I want to get a clarification. I texted Kieran McLaughlin. My understanding is I thought he wasn't taking over his book until Saratoga because that's when Frankie Dettori is coming, and the current agent, Ron Anderson, of both John Velasquez and Joel Rosario, can only have 2 journeymen at a time, so he can't have all 3 of them. But I want to check. I'm not sure of that.
How's that going to be this summer? Yeah, Frankie Dettori there full time.
He said that the real thing that really put him over the edge was knowing you'd be there. He said he wanted to work in the same place as you, Greg. You left him in Southern California.
I got to meet him, I think, 2001 Arlington Million. He just survived that helicopter crash.
Wow. I ran into him.
Really felt lucky to be alive after that.
I ran into him in the best restaurant in Saratoga during Saratoga week.
Set for the 6th. Let's go to Chris Griffin.
All set. Acting up their lock and key. More settled. And they're off. Good speed from Let's Go Big Blue in between horses. Also bar 14 in the early mix. Rough Draft takes back. The far outside, there's Born Dancer trying to join them. It's going to be bar 14 who secures the front, and bar 14, the long shot, is now in front. It's up by, call it 3/4 of a length over Let's Go Big Blue and Jose Lescano. They're going to stalk from second. Born Dancer's a touch wide. It's going to be 3 wide in that third position. At the rail moving forward is Rough Draft. That's the leading 4. Just behind them, Danzig with the Stars is in 5th, tucked in between rivals there. At the rail is Sail Something. It's now in the shared 6th position. King of Comedy is towards the back end of the field with Lock and Key. The trailer is Cable Ready. They're chasing bar 14, 24 seconds flat for the opening quarter mile. Mild pressure from Let's Go Big Blue towards the outside, stalking from second. Rough Draft is in 3rd. Born Dancer holds that 4th spot, 48 3. The half-mile time is moving forward as Danzig with the Stars. This is in front of Sell Something, and Flavian Pratt maybe looking for a way out there as At the Rail is waiting for King of Comedy to push on by. Lock and Key, the trailer, is Cable Ready. They're well into the far turn now, and bar 14 is still there. It's bar 14 in front. Here comes the run from Let's Go Big Blue. Danzig with the Stars is progressing in between horses. Has horse, nowhere to go yet. Also trying to push on through his Rough Draft. They are very tightly bunched here in the lane. Bar 14 now. Danzig with the Stars is going to see the seam. Let's Go Big Blue is sprinting on. Now tipping to the outside is Danzig with the Stars. A little bit of trouble, but Danzig with the Stars is now in the clear to chase the top duo. Let's Go Big Blue. Bar 14. Danzig with the Stars is trying to nip him at the line. Danzig with the Stars got up. 3-2 favorite wins it. Danzig with the Stars over bar 14. Let's Go Big Blue. Then another photo, Lock and Key with Born Dancer in 1 minute 36.52 seconds.
Irad Ortiz Jr. had to work until every step of that finish on Danzig with the Stars to get this win.
I think Irad right now is saying, I'm going to have to tell Rick Dutrow I blew it. Because, you know, and to be fair to him, the margin was slim, and he decided to continue to save ground the turn and not angle out. And maybe he gets clear earlier and he wins, or maybe losing that extra ground doesn't get it done for him. A very game effort by the number 4, bar 14, by the way, who held on for second there at 17-1. And by the way, I know it didn't get you any money, but it was a pretty good call by Mackey on Lock and Key running better today, because he was actually a very fast clothing, I think, 5th year, and went right after the wire. So she didn't help your bankroll, but I got to say, she was right on the money that horse was going to run better today. It's just better wasn't good enough to get a piece of it.
3-2 favorite. Danzig with the Stars with the win. 7, 4, 6, 9, 17-1 shot, by the way, who tried to take this field gate to wire, hanging in there to complete the exacta.
And let me just correct, Kieran McLaughlin is, in fact, Johnny's agent, basically, at this point. So thank you.
Okay.
Thanks, Kieran, for that. Sorry.
Thank you. No, good to correct that.
And this was a great ride, as it turned out, but almost a good ride that went wrong, right?
Didn't look like he was going to get there.
It shows the margin between good ride and bad ride, right? He won, so it was a good ride. If he'd come ahead short, they'd be blaming Irad for the loss.
3-2 favorite here in the 6th. Danzig with the Stars, 5th career victory. We take a timeout. Graham Motion, he is on a roll at the Jersey Shore, putting his perfect record on the line. Can he keep things going? Stay with us.
possess such natural athleticism.
It is Golden Pal winning the Juvenile Turf Sprint.
He's very, very agile and quick.
Golden Pal has repelled the challenges.
Each and every race, he just got better and better.
Golden Pal broke like a rocket. Golden Pal, wire to wire.
He's a very confident horse.
Golden Pal, the lead is out to 5 lengths in deep stretch.
He's just got a brilliant mind.
They're all behind Golden Pal.
I'm going to be breeding everything I have to him.
Buy in July. America's #1 ranked yearling sale by percentage of stakes winners, stakes horses, and 2-year-old winners. A catalog packed with precocious yearlings by the nation's best sires, plus a showcase of the freshman sires of 2024. Recent grads include Grade 1 winners Carson's Run, Candy, and Go Rocket Ride, with a growing list of graded stakes winners. The Fasig-Tipton July sale of selected yearlings, July 9th in Lexington, Kentucky. Where will you be?
Charlatan is back, and he turns it on with 1/8 of a mile to go. Express Train moves into second. Nashville dropping out of it, and then Collusion Illusion. What a spectacular return for Charlatan, who will romp in the run-happy Malibu Stakes by 4.5 emphatic lengths. Charlatan, ultra impressive.
It's a new day for a new king.
New York breds. Race them.
Respect them.
Bet them.
Respect them.
Breed them.
Respect them.
Buy them.
Respect them.
Train them for a second career.
Respect them. Join us in respecting thoroughbreds at every stage of life. Learn more at nybreds.com.
Back on America's Day at the Races, it's brought to you by Hillendale at Alapa, where the obscure becomes obvious. Favorite for the Rat Ortiz Jr. Danzig with the Stars. Takes the 6th here at Belmont at the Big A. It's a 3-2 favorite.
And ultimately, while Irad might have looked bad at this horse not gotten room and gotten out, I think the decisions he made were the right ones, because I think he probably didn't feel like he had enough horse under him to go around. Otherwise, he probably would have tried to go around a little bit earlier. And he probably thought he was going to have to keep it measured as much as he did, because I think Greg got out with enough time where if he'd had a lot of run, you know, he might have won by 3/4 of a length or something. And at the end of the day, I think he needed to give the ride he gave, a ride that he might have looked bad if he had lost, but it really might not have been a bad ride, just what he had to do to win.
Michael Dubb, Michael Imperio, owners of Dancing with the Stars. We move on to race 7, 6 furlongs. Turf Sprint coming up, New York breds. New York bred maiden special weight in the 7th, where right now it's the 8, Capital Spending, Jorge Abreu. Who's favored?
Yeah, he's a funny horse, and this is a funny race because you got some horses with trips out of slow races like the number 2 Fabulous Fox, who I picked, and even the sort of long shot Just Heart, the 7. But Capital Spending ran well enough to win this race 2 back, and then was a real stinker last time out. If you can get her to run back to her debut, she is the horse to beat. But what happened last time?
Yeah. More on this race coming up. We'll get to the post-parade shortly as well. This weekend, coverage continues from Monmouth. We got the Goldwood Stakes, 5.5 furlongs on the grass. First of $100,000 for fillies and mares 3 and up. And we're going to take a look at Shoshana, who is lightning quick.
She is quick, and she's pretty good. And this is a very good race. I think she's named after my niece.
Could be.
Shoshana. Nick Zito named a horse once Shoshana without the H.
You've had a lot of horses named after you and your family members. Didn't get the win here. Winner of this race would come back to win again, and Hollywood Walk was just behind her.
No, I have no knock on this horse. The question is how quick you think the pace is going to be in this race. If she's able to control, and that's a question mark because there are some quick ones in here, she can be dangerous. But this is a very, very competitive race. Good race.
Now, a filly who can sit, stalk, and stay just off the speed potentially, Paul. Beauty of the Sea, whose only try at Monmouth on the turf was a win.
Yeah, and it was a win. And I think the concern for Joe Orsino at that time was whether, Beauty of the Sea was a better 5 furlong sprinter than a 5.5. It's a bigger difference here because you kind of have a little bit of a hook. But she's been very good. And when Paco Lopez has been aboard her only one time, she got the W. And I like that she's run well at different racetracks. She's run well at Gulfstream. She's run well at Churchill Downs. She threw in a little bit of a clunker, but that was a really tough field at Saratoga. But this was her last race at Churchill Downs. And listen, she battled the whole way around. I mean, she's just the chestnut on the inside, the filly on the outside, the gray's just going to outfinish her to the wire. And that was a good race. But like Andy said, this is a loaded race. The Grand Motion Runner, Queen of Mud, has got a big shot in here. I also think the 7... Freedom Speaks makes a comeback in here, Greg. We haven't seen her run in about 1.5 years, but there was a ton of buzz on her. And then also Hollywood Walk for Michael Trombetta. I mean, it is a loaded, like Andy said, a loaded edition of the Goldwood. It's going to be very interesting who ends up being the favorite when they spring the latch.
All right, Paulie, thanks. We look forward to that coming up tomorrow. That's race 9, 4:56 Eastern start time for that Goldwood. Right now it's the 5th, mile and a 16th on the turf. And Chad Brown, he's got 2 runners in here, including the 3-1 favorite right now, Maine Beach, who is making his second start on the grass, 3rd start overall. But there's a few interesting runners in this field.
Well, I mean, you have to start with the other Chad Brown runner on the rail, though we'll show a little replay here, and I think we're talking about Maine Beach finishing 2nd last time. Nothing wrong with that effort, a solid effort. But remember, had the rail that day, and now draws post 9 or post 8 with a scratch. But that makes it a lot more difficult in these 2-turn turf races to get position. Now, granted, out of the chute, there is a long run to the turn, but the position doesn't fall to you. And Chad Brown's a first-time starter in here. Now, I don't know who his go-to rider would be. Is it Chaminade, who rides the number 1 under invested, or is it Camacho, who rides the number 9 Maine Beach? Joe Bravo rode Maine Beach last time out. And don't think that Chad Brown runs Klarovich horses that are inferior at Monmouth, because Program Trading has won 3 Grade 1s programs made in there, and I think Surge Capacity may have as well.
Well, maybe a new face that's interesting. Some other runners in here as well to keep an eye on, but let's go back to Paul.
Yeah, another interesting race in here. And just a little bit of a side note, guys, the rails are out about 15 feet. So what I mean by that, they basically cut the turf course in half. So with 9 runners in here, it might steer you away from the 9 and the 10 in here. I mean, if you look at the 9 and the 10 in here in Triumphant Road and Maine Beach, now I do prefer Maine Beach more. Triumphant Road's got some good numbers too as well, but like I said, with the rails out, it might be a little bit of a tougher trip, although they can get position maybe coming out of that chute that they have in there. So, the 9 at 5-2, definitely the horse to beat, at least on paper. Juan Valdez, the 5. I mean, if you just draw a line through that last race, sometimes you got to draw a line through races, or sometimes you might want to think, is the horse going backwards or not? But if you draw a line through that race, and if that race was not there, Juan Valdez would be, I would say, 3-2 or even money somewhere in that area. But that clunker being thrown in makes this horse 3-1. So do you believe in this horse coming back at age 4? Now, the 4 Paris Sunrise, I thought was interesting in here because Joe Bravo did ride the 9 last time out. Now, I don't know if Chad didn't like the ride at all, and he went with Sammy Camacho. But Joe lands on the J.K. Sweezy horse, Kent Sweezy, that Paris Sunrise, who I think with Lasix getting for the first time, showed speed, got beat by a horse that won next time out. I think that's the horse to catch. Joe knows this turf, and like I said, with the rails out here, I think speed might be very, very good. So I'll land on the 4. And to get to the 1, I thought the 1 made a great appearance on the racetrack. And like Andy said, these Chad Brown runners, you just never know when they're going to fire or not. I thought the 1 and the 9 both looked tremendous on the racetrack. I'm just going with the pace advantage here. I think the 4 has a shot to go gate to wire here, Gregor.
All right, Paul, thank you. 2-1 on the Chad Brown runner is going to have the outside post coming out of the chute, which could be difficult. But a first-timer, the Paulie says, from the same barn, looks pretty good on the track. 9-2 right now and underinvested.
I mean, This is a Justify they paid $300,000 for. Is a half to one turf winner and a 2 to try it, but they ran 80 buyers. A couple of good horses came out of the dam. A very good dirt horse came out. I can't read my handwriting. But Stanford, right, for Todd Pletcher. It was a good horse. But I would not be swayed by Chad running this horse at Monmouth. He, like Tampa Bay, he will run horses that go on to good careers at Monmouth Park, and he's done it for Klarovich before, for sure with program trading. Surge capacity, I can't remember for sure.
All right, see how this plays out. And, Paul's right. Paris Surprise, the 4. It's going to be the 3-year-old debut for him for the Kent Sweezy barn, but that is a quick horse. He had sprint speed. Who is going to be the one to catch?
You would think. Another one where the pace projector does not have the horse in front, and I find that a little bit hard to believe. Right?
Yes.
Has the 2 in front. 2 and 3 in front of that horse. I don't see it.
I don't see that.
Surge capacity broker maiden at Monmouth Park, first time out.
Wow.
There you have it.
Yeah, don't be
2 grade 1 winners last year.
Big hit down from 9-2 to 7-2, but keep in mind the other Chad Brown runner at Main Beach already has a start where he only missed by a neck. And that was the turf debut, and it was here at Monmouth.
That horse is very, very live and probably the horse to beat. And Paulie's right about Juan Valdez. The problem with Juan Valdez is what the heck happened last time? But it was at Churchill. And Churchill is a track where we've seen some crazy things happening, right? A lot of horses do not handle the turf.
Rider climbing, I believe, back aboard, was off the 7. And about to get back aboard. Torres. Matt Dinnerman the call. Pick 4 starts here. It's a 5th for Monmouth.
Main Beach is in, Triumphant Road 2. We're ready to go. And they're off. Triumphant Road drifted outwards at the start. American Memories steps on the gas in the early stages, comes out of the chute with a couple runners right to the outside. Paris Surprise there, Main Beach grandstand side. Paris Surprise with a neck lead on Main Beach, who's on a hold second. American Memories takes back to third. Triumphant Road alongside of him. Bigger and McCracken between those two as they approach the clubhouse turn. A gap of 2 to underinvested, the first-time starter. True Faith is next, caught a little deep going into that turn. Juan Valdez second to last early, and Portis can see them all as they round the clubhouse turn. Main Beach comes out of the pack to take the lead, gets to the rail, and leads by a length and a tail. Triumphant Road into second. Paris Surprise delegates to track, 2 lengths off the pace setter in third. 3/4 to Bigger and McCracken. On the outside, settled down, racing alone fourth, just ahead of Underinvested and True Faith. They're side by side. American Memories has lost quite a few positions, is third last now, length clear of Portis and Juan Valdez at the tail end of the field with a half mile to go. Main Beach, the 9-5 favorite, has a half-length lead into the far turn. Triumphant Road turning up the heat as they go into the turn and start to pick up the tempo. Paris Surprise saving ground third, getting closer. Bigger and McCracken's all in. American Memories has 8 lengths to gain and a lot of work to do. Main Beach coming to the top of the lane, going well. Main Beach going to take some catching. Main Beach off the turn with a 2-length lead, putting away Triumphant Road. The only one that can beat him is Paris Surprise, who switches outside and comes with a run. Main Beach approaching the 16th pole, is asked to sprint for the finish, kicks away to a length and a half advantage. Paris Surprise ducking back to the inside. Main Beach a little green, but he's going to get it done. Main Beach well ahead. Paris Surprise was second, Photo for third. I think American Memories got it over Triumphant Road.
Main Beach, the Chad Brown with experience, gets the win here, second time on the grass.
Yeah, was able to get aggressively ridden to the front end. Nice job by Sammy Camacho and hold off a perfect trip. Paris Surprise, who finished second in there. Juan Valdez, something went wrong. He didn't do any running in the first-time starter. Just absolutely backed out of the field midway through the race.
He started to make a move at one point, but it's very short-lived.
Yep. As soon as the rider looked behind him. I'm serious.
CHP Racing, Chad Brown, Sam Camacho, and a 3-year-old by Into Mischief with the victory. As we get to back here to New York, 7th, 6 furlongs, outer turf. in this New York bred maiden special weight coming up. 5-2 favorite, Fabulous Fox, Christophe Clement, and Arad Ortiz Jr.
I have been to the Fabulous Fox in Atlanta, where I'm sure he's named, or she's named as Reeves Thoroughbreds, Dean Reeves and Patty Reeves from Atlanta. It's a beautiful theater in downtown Atlanta. On Peachtree, you know every street in Atlanta is Peachtree. Do you know that?
No.
Kind of, yeah, it's a little bit, yeah. Saw the Grateful Dead there in 1985. It's an incredible theater. There's a moving cloud cover on the ceiling.
By the way, next door, maybe it's Exacta. Let's go back to the beginning. I'll tell you in a minute. Back on October 29th of last year.
Yeah, this is the number 9 horse, okay? So blew the brake completely. Completely blew the brake. Broke a good 2 lengths slow. And I know you're talking about Play Freebird.
Atlanta.
I imagine that Leonard's going to probably play the Fabulous Fox at some point. So, okay, so now watch this horse has already moved up. And think about the break. This horse is going to get sort of shuffled back subtly in traffic behind horses. It was a good job by Dylan Davis to get over the inside. But at this point, he's kind of in that spot where he's kind of got nowhere to go. And he wants to go up inside, but the 4 horse doesn't really have the horse. And he's kind of shuffled a little bit right in here. You see he has to take a hold of him. And the 4 backs up in his face, and he gets completely shuffled out. And now he ends up almost back to last, third to last. Yeah, he saved ground, but blew the brake. 2 lengths, got the position, shuffled back, and you're going to see him keep running through horses. Now, the problem is, this is not proven to be a very good race. But I think you could say that maybe this horse could have run 4 or 5 lengths better and maybe run a buyer figure in the mid-60s. And as a 2-year-old, that's good enough to be effective here coming through. But you're taking the worst of it with Irad Ortiz. I scratched in this horse as my top choice when the 5 came out. I'm not thrilled at a short price, but this horse did have a significant trip that was oddly missed by the chart callers, who do a fabulous job around here.
Let's go down to Maggie.
Yeah, we'll take a look at Fabulous Fox in here, and I totally agree. I mean, showing that replay in its entirety, I think is imperative to making a decision about how you feel about Fabulous Fox coming back today and returning to the turf. Well, first time out in that race, I thought she was expertly spotted, and I do believe I picked her because she looked so well prepared too. I'm not going to get creative here. I've tried all day and it hasn't worked out very well. But I think she just fits very nicely against this group who, there's a few other lightly raced horses in here, but they haven't run particularly fast races as they kind of come out of common affairs. And I just think she is a bit of the shiny new penny who looks incredibly fit yet again, coming back into a spot where I think she should be very effective, Greg.
All right, Maggie, thank you. Get to the post parade here in just a little bit. 9 minutes away from the 7th coming up. We're going to take a timeout. Christophe Clement filly on your screen. The 5-2 favorite for Reeves Thoroughbred Racing. Arad Ortiz Jr. will ride for that man right there. One of the great trainers in the sport. Christophe Clement. Can Fabulous Fox get it done as the favorite in the 7th when we come back?
Tonalist, a 4-time Grade 1 winner with 11 triple-digit buyers, including the Belmont Stakes and the Cigar Mile. He's already living up to his potential as a sire with multiple graded stakes winners, including Grade 1 winner Country Grammar and Grade 2 winner Tonalist Shape, plus multiple 6-figure yearling and 2-year-old sales. Proven on the track, proven in the sales ring. Tonalist, standing at Lane's End.
Good to have you with us on our Friday coverage here on Fox Sports 2, regional networks out in Southern California. You're watching America's Day at the Races, about 2.5 weeks until we head upstate, but we got a lot of business to settle here at Belmont at the Big A before we head to Saratoga. Some very big races to be run. 7th coming up next, 6 furlongs sprinting on the outer turf in this state-bred maiden special weight. Post parade here coming up. And we start with Play Freebird.
I regret very little, but I regret not going to see Leonard Skinner at SPAC when I was in like about 8th grade.
First time that was ever uttered, it was, they said, what should we play? And it was in Atlanta Theater.
And somebody said
and
Play
it was at
Freebird?
Freeword. Yeah, that's where it originated.
Is that true?
Yeah.
Oh, I like that.
Fabulous
Cool.
Fox, Rad Ortiz Jr., and Clement.
Speaking of Atlanta, big trip, but is the question, and this is important in this race because there's 2 of them, are there any trips in slow races? Some would say none.
Kevin Bond with Soretto for 15.
Overbet with Frankie Dettori last time, but she's good enough to get a piece, but she's running out of chances.
Better Be Smart with Manny Franco for Charlie Baker.
I just don't see the turf pedigree for this one, but has enough ability that maybe an improvement on turf would help.
Big long shot for Russell Cash, HMS victory.
Yeah, nothing to recommend. One turf race with a 10 buyer.
7 horse stepping up in class for Bruce Brown.
Well, this horse should have been unsaddled last time. Was much the best, but was against a very, very weak field.
Capital Spending, Flavien Prat.
Listen, off the first race, the horse should be a short price. Off the second race, she should not.
And Dylan Davis on Splashy for Clement as well.
I like Christophe with turnbacks, but her one turf sprint's not really good enough, and I just don't think she's that good, but maybe in this race, she's a contender turning back, and if you like her, she's a big price.
Now let's go back to Just Hard. You talked about the effort last time out, off slow, blocked, all kinds of issues.
Well, this was a bad break and then some rider error. Much like Fabulous Fox, only this was worse. Leapt up at the start, finds herself well back of the field, and then stays on the rail. But the problem he made was he stayed on the rail. And as you're going to see, that's going to become kind of problematic. Right now, you see it, Pink, moving out. Doesn't swing out here, decides to go between horses. Now listen, if it works out, he's a genius. It didn't. Not a genius. This was the one, right? Completely stymied, blind switch there, and angled out. And by the time she got room, she just couldn't quite catch the winner, who had gotten a much, much cozier trip. So you put the trouble and the break. She probably should have won this race. But the problem is that was a very weak field. But you know what? There are no killers in here, and she's a big price. So if you like her, better.
10-1 right now on the jump up in class, and hopefully a smoother trip for trainer Bruce Brown. And you know, I gotta like that he keeps Ramon Vasquez aboard too. And hopefully learn from those mistakes. Hell, you had to go pretty wide too to swing out.
Ramon has shown to me that he needs more experience on the turf. I think he rides fine in the dirt, but his turf racing, I think some of his positional judgment has not been as good as some of the other riders here. He's in a very tough colony. It's not easy. And I've seen him make some mistakes, but it's not easy. And, you know, I don't want to be too hard on him. And I thought he gave a terrific ride earlier today to win in the dirt. But in the turf, I think he's a little bit lost at times.
Let's go back to Maggie.
Yeah, you know, Ramon Vasquez, I got to watch him quite a bit as covering Oaklawn. And I was discussing this with Paul LaDuca when we heard the news that he was going to come and ride in New York. And we said, that's great. Nobody's aggressive in New York. He'll be different. Being different is cool, man. And he has yet to shown that same aggression that we saw at Oaklawn here on the NYRA circuit. So I would hope that at some point he reverts back to that. Again, I do agree with Andy, though, that turf can be a completely different animal and probably just doesn't have quite as much experience on it. But let's check in with the horse to the outside of his mount, and that's at number 8 for Jorge Abreu in Capital Spending. I want to like her. But I felt she was bad last time. I couldn't come up with much of an excuse. It was a slow race. Tariga was able to, subsequently, for the most part, we'll get to that subsequently for the most part in a minute here, But maybe if she gets back to her first race and can kind of improve a little bit from that, she gets a piece of it here because she does make an excellent impression. But race horses do tend to do that oftentimes. Is Play Freebird. I thought it was a little, maybe not a passive ride. In hindsight, it's always 20/20 as she was in front, for nearly the first furlong of the race. But the rider with Tariga, more aggressive, and it paid off. And so she kind of, was taken back a bit and lost some position. And plus, it was her first start in quite a while. She looked incredibly fit as she has made her way to post. And I thought, she's definitely a turf sprinter. This is what she wants to do, as her form would suggest that as well. And I thought just maybe being a little bit more aggressive from her, unfortunately drawing the one hole again, but okay, that simplifies things, that she could be effective in this spot at a huge price, guys.
Name a horse subsequently for the most part. It's too many letters, but I love that.
Terrific name.
Maggie, can I steal that from you? She said yes. Okay. We're in. Too many letters. Can't do it.
Have you, I want to know real quick, as we see the one load up, have you ever yelled out, "Play Freebird" at a concert?
I have not. You might be surprised. No, I don't really yell a lot at concerts. I'm actually sort of,
You're tame.
I am tame.
Just yell.
I've been known to yell at basketball games.
You just yell in the meetings.
I've been known to yell at basketball games, but no, at concerts I'm fairly subdued. I regret not seeing Leonard Skinner. My friend Sean went. I didn't go. I made a mistake.
8-5 favorite, the Christophe Clement filly. Fabulous Fox, Arad Ortiz Jr. Let's go to Chris Griffin for the call.
Splashy is in. All set. Unsettled towards the inside there. Also backing one out of the gate there. Play Freebird. Play Freebird. Back in. And they're off. Fabulous Fox has early speed right to the front. It's Fabulous Fox, and Better Be Smart is right there engaged stalking. Play Freebird wants to move through at the rail, is now going to be patiently ridden, is going to wait for room there, settles into third, out wider. Capital Spending with Just Heart. They were fourth and fifth and moving forward. They're in sixth is going to be Splashy out in the center of the course. Second to last is HMS Victory and the early trailer, Soretta. 22.36 for the opening quarter mile. They're chasing Fabulous Fox. The favorites got the lead. Fabulous Fox is up by a half length and doing it nicely. Better Be Smart engaged to the outside from second. Play Freebird is encouraged to move forward here at the rail. Just Heart is holding that position in between horses as those two now brush as they move for the same spot and reach the top of the lane. Fabulous Fox is in front, and Fabulous Fox has got plenty so far. Just Heart is trying to rally on from in between horses. Better Be Smart, but Fabulous Fox was setting the tempo and now sprinting away from the rest of the field. Splashy's running on Capital Spending, but Fabulous Fox has a 16th left to go. A little bit green and ducked over to the rail, but Fabulous Fox still well clear. Fabulous Fox gets the victory. Fabulous Fox over Capital Spending. There in Splashy's in a photo with Better Be Smart and Soretta with a late run at 1 minute 9 and 4.
Fabulous Fox off the layoff, back on grass, and an impressive win here for the Christophe Clement barn with Arad Ortiz Jr.
And after her turf debut, obviously one of the keys was how would she break. When she broke as well as she did, and Irad put in the front end, you could see him riding with so much confidence on her, and she was just better than these horses. As Chris mentioned in the call, ducking out a little bit in the stretch, but she was just better than the field she faced today, and nice win here. And Irad gets this one home. It's too straight for Irad.
Many more to come as he's making it interesting on Manny Franco, putting the heat on.
Manny's up to the challenge. Irad's going to ride Vava at Churchill tomorrow, who is the leader of the filly and mare turf sprint division. By the way, I texted with Cherie DeVoe, and you remember More Than Looks, that really nice turf horse? She's hoping to have him back soon.
Had that dominant, was it at Woodbine?
No, Churchill.
Okay.
Remember he made that run from well back in the stretch? And, of course, he won our Manila, and the Manila will be next week. And Christophe Clement announced, by the way, speaking of Christophe, that Deterministic will be making his turf debut on the turf. Hopefully he can turn it around and get back to that good form he showed in the Gotham.
Interesting. A lot to look forward to coming up in the weeks and months ahead this summer. Saratoga, Fabulous Fox here back on grass and gets that maiden win. 4th try for that man right there. One of the best in the sport. Christophe Clement takes his 7th here for Reeves Thoroughbred Racing. We'll have the prices for you when we come back. Wins at 8-5, 2, 8, 9, 4 in the 7th.
Nothing stood in his way. War of Will won the Preakness.
At the line, War of Will, that's a photo for the win. Hey, 650,000.
War of Will, standing at Claiborne Farm.
Experience the adrenaline-pumping, suspense-filled action of the Sport of Kings no matter where you are with Naira Bets. It's fast, easy, and secure. Download the app today and start winning with our lucrative weekly promotions, thrilling handicapping contests, and a one-of-a-kind VIP rewards program. Don't just watch horse racing, be a part of the action with Naira Bets.
It's By My Standards and spinoff By My Standards to win the Louisiana Derby. By My Standards has won the New Orleans Classic by 4.
By My Standards wins the Oakland Handicap. By My Standards attacks. Rushing By My Standards to the wire.
Racetrack Television Network brings you every race, from every track, on every screen, every day. With monthly packages starting as low as $5, RTN gives you great value and access to more live HD streaming and race replays than anyone. Visit RTN.tv today to sign up and watch on almost any device, including Roku and Amazon Fire. RTN has packages that start at $5 per month.
Back with you on America's Day of the Races is brought to you in part by America's Best Racing. For the love of the race, visit americasbestracing.net today. Fabulous Fox takes the 7th for Christophe Clement, Reeves Thoroughbred Racing, and Arad Ortiz Jr. Inching closer to Manny Franco.
Manny's going to get a bunch of wins tomorrow and establish that lead, keep it fun, and give Irad a target. And, Christophe Clement and the Reeveses have a 2-year-old firster. Now, there's a very, very interesting 2-year-old maiden race in the turf on Sunday. And they have a 2-year-old firster that worked 9 3/5 the Ocala Sale. Pivotal something, I think.
Okay. Look forward to that on our Sunday coverage.
She found the right field and able to control up front. Little green. See if she gets better.
So Fabulous Fox, career start number 4. First start since early January. Worth the wait to come back and see that performance.
Kind of rooting for that 2-1 with the play Freebird, the perfect symmetry. Wasn't to be.
Here's our feature. Allowance optional claiming 1 turn mile on the main track, and the return of Signal from Noise for Klarovich and Chad Brown.
Whether you like her or not, the race goes through her. Forget about the Irad Chad factors. A horse who her good races are too good for these. The problem is, after running well out of town for the most part, the one was at Aqueduct. 1.25 miles, okay. The 1.25 miles was probably too far for her. But then her next race was obviously a complete disaster. Now, something went wrong. She's been laid up since then, and Chad Brown's numbers off of layoffs, while they're very good in the turf, they're still pretty good in the dirt with routers, especially at Naira. So there's reason to believe she can run back to it, but you're still talking about a horse that's laid up and was bad when she went to the shelf. So she could be beatable, and I'm going to try to beat her with the number 2. Pretty extreme. I like when Linda Rice is seemingly aggressive. Claimed this one for 40 and is running for 62.5. And she does have a couple of back races that make her a major player here.
Okay. Signal from what you think her best is too good for Dame Cinco. Dame Cinco has been pretty good.
I wonder if at a mile, Signal from Noise has a little bit of an edge from her if she runs her best race. We'll see, though. It's not impossible. Yeah. Not knocking Damasenko. She can win, Damasenko.
Dylan Davis there for the Dutch Row Barn. Back to Monmouth. Race 6. Here they come on the track for this Jersey-bred maiden special weight.
Are you getting the conga line in your ear behind you? Yeah.
It's nice.
You guys got a conga line in the truck? Because if you do, we're coming down.
This is
Margaritas
nothing
sound good
compared to what we were dealing with Belmont Stakes Racing Festival week in our ears.
There was quite a lot going on there.
Oh,
quite a weekend.
I'm still recovering.
And I also have circus music that follows me around, so I've got a lot going on in that regard.
Here's Don't Rock the Boat, who cuts back in distance.
I mean, I guess showed a little more life in the slop last time, turning back. Haven't seen the horse in 9 months, almost 10.
Not much dirt form at all for TV Man.
No. We are TV men, and we're not betting this one on a hunch bet.
Micro Brewski, 6-1 for Derek Ryan.
That's an interesting name on this one, and run well 2 straight races. No reason this one couldn't be a player.
41-1 on when it was 51-1 first time out.
I like the name. Other than that, nothing to recommend, but has never been on the dirt.
Yeah, debut was turf. New gelding gets Lasix as well. Mid-air, flying high, Dan Ward trains.
What happened to the number 5 for Tony Margada? This one gets Lasix, but has done no running in 2 races back in the fall.
Go Irish went by, debuted at Gulfstream, ran a distant third.
Isn't this horse is way the horse to beat?
And the 9, first-time starter, went by Sweet Spite by Palace Malice.
Taking no money.
Lacanto, we just saw, second-time starter.
Nothing to recommend.
Post Command.
Back on the dirt for this one, logical, 7-2, second choice.
And Navasink Pirate, outside.
Last race wasn't bad, could be a contender off here. I mean, go Irish for Jenna Antonucci. This horse. What price is this one in the
Irish
street?
War Cry.
I think that was Regime Mirage last winter.
Stop. 9-5 on this one. Let's go to Paul.
Yeah, the horse to beat is Jenna's horse here by far. Whenever you run out of the New Jersey condition, especially at Gulfstream Park, and you run a pretty good third with a really good number too. So this horse is definitely the horse to beat in here, now facing Jersey Breds for the first time. And 9-5 right now, I think is going to go down a little bit in here. And the other horse in here, you know, when you look, is probably 11 Post Command. You know, 2 back, this horse got dead left and made up a ton of ground. Then they tried the turf last time out, just didn't work out. Chuck Spina's barn's been pretty good so far on this meet, and I think the 11 is a player in here. The 12, Knave Sink Pirate, would probably be my selection. And, you know, Andy made a good point. Showed a little bit last time. If you look at his other 2 races, he got nothing out of those 2 races. He was dead last. He was 84-1. But those were loaded races. And then he came here in a New Jersey bred race. I thought he kind of ran in spots and got a little bit more out of it than he got out of his other races. So at 8-1, I just think he's a major player in here. So I'll use him probably on top. And I do think Micro Brewski could be the speed. And, you know, the one horse that was taking money early was My Jack, a son of Golden Lad. And Golden Lad was trained by Todd Pletcher. Actually ran in the 2014 Preakness, then came back and won the Essex Handicap as well. This horse was taking money. Anthony Margada is having an okay meet, and he can strike with a first-time starter every once in a while. So the 5 could be live here, but I'm going to land on the outside horse, the 12, Knave Sink Pirate for Eddie Owens Jr., who's also having a very good meet.
No kidding. 5 for 10 at the meet, at least when my PPs were printed on
9-5 becomes 6-5, by the way, on Go Irish.
I think this horse runs back the Florida race.
Open Company
it's over.
In Florida.
Well, still a pretty good horse in Big City. I mean, this horse runs back to that race. And these, of course, bred by the same and owned by the same connections as Irish War Cry.
Ooh.
Yeah, that was a cool win. I thought he was going to win the Belmont. He turned for home in the lead. I was really rooting for Raj. That Jose Ortiz had to spoil things with Taprit.
3.5-1 on the wood with Rajiv aboard, beating Battalion Runner and Cloud Computing.
And Cloud came back and won the Preakness off this race, but this was a track that was very tilted towards forwardly placed horses, and that's why Cloud was running against it and why he was playable in the Preakness. But he was good this day. He was a very, very nice horse, Irish War Cry. Always nice to see Raj and Graham
Second
Motion
in the
team
Belmont.
up.
Came back to win as a 4-year-old, the Pimlico Special on a wet track.
Did Raj ride him that day?
Jose Ortiz.
Raj may have been hurt. What year was that?
He was a good one. And that was a huge win for Rajiv coming back from injury, wasn't it?
Absolutely. Absolutely, because don't forget, he had been injured in the riding Wicked Strong in the Jockey Club Gold Cup. He came back and, he had some bad luck. But I think a lot of people may not remember, and I like to make fun of him. Raj was a hell of a rider.
Even money on this Irish war cry, go Irish.
Romero may be prettier, but Rajiv was a better rider. No disrespect.
No, Romero's got some time. He's still young.
He does. And I think Romero would admit that. Raj could ride. I mean, he was winning a ton of races in the shadow of Ramon Dominguez, which is not an easy thing to do.
Let's go to Matt Dinnerman, 6 for Monmouth.
Post command goes up. My Jack second to last. And to round out the field, Navasink Pirate. We're ready to go. And by rough. Tardy break from midair fly high, who drops to the back. Navasink Pirate put into play early as a share of the lead with My Jack. These two together. Don't Rock the Boat makes it 3 across the track from the inside. A gap of 2 to Go Irish, and also Micro Brewski, the gray fully committed. 4 lengths off the pace in midfield. A length and a half to TV Man. 3 more to Lacanto, who's alongside of Post Command, and then comes Fly Air, mid-fly high. Second to last, Sweet Spite drops to the back as they go into the far turn. Don't Rock the Boat in front by just a deck. Navasink Pirate right there is stablemate as they round the turn, and Go Irish makes a move in the 3-path. Go Irish goes to the front with 5/16 to go, and Go Irish pushes past the top pair and kicks away to a 2-length advantage. In third is Fully Command getting outside for the stretch drive. Micro Brewski plodding along in midfield, attempting to pass rivals as they come down the lane. Go Irish, his race to lose with a furlong to go. He's shifting ground. He's green here, drifting to the center of the track. Don't Rock the Boat still in second. Post Command's coming on the scene late for a minor award. Go Irish gonna see it out and gets it done by 2.5. Post Command rallies on for second. Don't Rock the Boat third. Lacanto is fourth.
Like mind frame in the Belmont for a minute. Drifting out in the stretch, but dropping out of facing Open Company in Florida, now facing New Jersey breds, and Go Irish gets the win.
He looked like a winner on paper. He looked like a winner on the backstretch. He looked like a winner turning for home. A couple of brief moments as he drifted out there, but he just found a field. He was too good for Jen Antonucci getting the win. Nick Juarez, I believe, rode this horse, right?
He did. For the woman who made history last year.
I don't know if you know this, but the same owners as Irish Workray.
Someone just mentioned that on the show.
I don't remember who that was.
Go Irish with the victory, yeah.
And by the way, it's Navasink.
Pirate. Yeah.
Navasink.
Go Irish gets the win. Short price. That 9-5 became 6-5. But that was a big drop in class. Well done, Jenna Antonucci, Nick Juarez. Prices when we come back. We'll set up the 7th next.
Right there, 1,200,000. 25, 550. Mitchell, 550,000.
And now 500. And 500,000. Thank you.
450, 75. 475,000.
Back on America's Day of the Races. And we just saw Go Irish with a victory. A lot of high fives in that winner's circle. Back at Belmont on the Big A. Feature race coming up. 1-turn mile on the main track. Allowance optional claiming field as we look at Signal from Noise making her return. First start back as a 5-year-old. She's a 9-5 favorite. Let's go to Maggie.
I've got to say, this time of day at the Big A is ideal. It's so nice with the breeze. You can feel it coming off the water. I know I said it yesterday, but I'm really digging it. As we'll check in with Signal from Noise on the outside, as she is your current favorite, number 7 in here for Chad Brown. And she's a horse that, look, going 2 back, which admittedly was the only time I'd ever seen her prior to a race, weirdly. I know she's run at Naira several times. But I thought the 1.25 miles was going to work out well for her because she could control on the front end. They didn't use her. They didn't go to the lead. And then subsequently she ran poorly, and we haven't seen her since late August. She looks fit. She could look a little stronger behind. She has shown that actually a mile is her best distance, and including at this 1-turn kind of configuration. I don't mind her. I'm not going to be shocked when she wins. I just thought there were some other interesting propositions. Some people are going to lean on Pretty Extreme for Linda Rice, and when Linda steps horses up, you take note. But I don't think she was facing the strongest field last time. And Cinderella's Cause, she came back against weaker and could do no better than second, although the winner yesterday did have the pace advantage, and she was able to run a 75 buyer, so maybe apples and oranges. Pretty Extreme, though, is one that is always pretty unimpressive in the paddock. She tends to get herself kind of hot and bothered, washy, just a very nervous type of filly mare, I should say. She is 7. But the fact of the matter is she's always kind of been this way, and typical of Linda, she probably has her looking better than I've seen her in the past when it comes to her weight, when it comes to her nerves. So if you like her, fine, have at it. She could be dangerous here. I thought Dame Cinco could potentially be the most dangerous horse in here, as she projects to be the main speed, I think, overall. And she looks phenomenal. Granted, she has each and every time she's shown up to the paddock. And I kind of thought it was so interesting throughout the winter that the Rick Dutcher barn protected her. Every time. They claimed her for 40. They could have run her for the 40. They never wavered. And she finally broke through last time in that A other than condition. So I think getting her confidence back a little bit last time, the fact that she could be dangerous on the front end here could be lethal against this field, Greg.
See how it plays out. Yeah, I think she's interesting. 5-2 in here. Mile is a question. Though she's won out of 3 times, but
no, she's not impossible. And Rick Dutcher won a race earlier today. He has not been on a big run. His horses have not been running great lately, but he's having an overall good meet. Obviously won a lot of races earlier. I'm not going to be surprised if she wins here. And if you don't like Signal from Noise, she's the most logical horse. As I said with Pretty Extreme, I think it's a very good sign that Linda claimed this horse for $40,000, been off 2 months, and comes back with a significant rise in class. You don't see that from Linda a lot. And she does very well when she's aggressive with horses. And this is a horse that has run some races in the past that give her a chance to be a player here.
Riders up. There's Dylan Davis on Dame Cinco. And our post parade here coming up in a moment. 9-5 favorite. The return from Signal from Noise. Had a big win, as it was expected, at 1-5 to break her maiden in her second career start here at Aqueduct back in November of 22.
And ran second Tizzy in the Sky, who's a stakes winner in her debut.
Briefly, probably can't hear it at home, but we hear that call to post. Good look at the crowd overlooking that paddock area. Here's Malibu Moonshine, Charlie Baker, Junior Alvarado.
She just doesn't have a single race that makes her competitive on paper.
4-1 next door and Pretty Extreme.
As I said, aggressive move by Linda Rice. I like the move, and this horse, I'm confident she'll run well today.
Now off the claim, moving up from 40,000, claiming
Amanda's Folly is at 12 to 1.
Gets back on a dry track, and while she's handled wet tracks, maybe the dry track will wake this one up. And I wonder if you're going to see her at least show speed along with Dame Cinco.
Yeah, Linda Rice Barn as well. Dame Cinco, there she is at 2 to 1.
Not knocking her. Like the public, she is the obvious alternative to the favorite. At least she has recency.
Into Happiness, who was a fun story at Saratoga last summer.
But her form just completely fell apart, and we haven't seen her in a few months. She needs a lot of pace to run at. Will she get it here?
Comes from a mile away. She put together back-to-back wins at Saratoga. Toned up, 10 to 1 win. Buy in here, Signal from Noise.
Toned up's another one that needs speed, and right now, Signal from Noise a little chilly, especially for Irad Ortiz and Chad Brown as well.
Well, we're going to take a look at her.
I want to see what the double is. She's a big favorite in double.
This was back in March 10th of last year. 4 starts ago when she won the second win of her career.
Yeah, this is a win at Gulfstream Park where she got an 83 buyer after finishing behind Classy Edition, who's a stakes horse for Todd Pletcher, who I believe was just narrowly beaten in the Delaware Handicap by Idiomatic last year. I'm not certain of that, but I think that's the case. And she lost to Shotgun Hottie to Lay's Secret, who upset in her next start. Search results.
Wow.
Yeah. So she's got some good company, but she's going to find that good form. And the board right now is a little bit tepid. And my horse just went from 4 to 1 to 5 to 2, and now back to 3 to 1. A lot of money for Pretty Extreme.
Sure. I mean, you have to go a ways back, don't you, to find a race from Pretty Extreme that's competitive against the best from either the 4 or 7?
Maybe. Well, you got to go back to the race the last time Robbie Falcone had her back in January. That was just about 6 months ago, less 6 months ago, when she ran a 78 buyer. That race puts her in hailing distance. And, yeah, obviously the race last summer in Saratoga, the 88 buyer, she would probably win the race. But my feeling is that she may run one of her best races here. Linda Rice is a trainer that wins a lot of races by putting her horses in spots they can win, which usually does not mean being overly aggressive. It seems to me when she is seemingly aggressive, she's doing it for a purpose, and they usually run well. She's a very, very canny observer of her horse's talents, and for her to be aggressive means to me, and I have no idea if this is accurate, this horse is training very well.
Couple of short price favorite. Linda Rice has been beaten with already today. This one
they were
taking a swing against, better, stepping up in class. So different scenario here. Meanwhile, the 4, Dame Cinco. Thoroughgraph had that race last time out a lot faster than Buyer Speed Figure.
Okay. I mean, listen, sometimes I don't see that. I mean, I look at time form and I look at Buyer, and they're pretty similar on the last race. So, you know, different people look at figures differently. I wonder sometimes with 6.5 furlong races if sometimes those figures become a little bit aberrant. But she beat a solid horse for Todd Pletcher. I believe it was 3 to 5 in there, and Roman Grace. She ran well. I'm not going to knock her.
Just missed against Leave No Trace.
Oh, no, she can win here.
Grade 1 winner.
She could win here. Well, Leave No Trace, not quite the Grade 1 horse that she once was, but she did win a stake race out of that race.
So 2 to 1 on Dame Cinco. Let's go back to Maggie.
Excuse me, yes, Greg, as Dame Cinco, she is a horse I liked on paper. I really liked in the paddock. I downgraded her slightly when I watched the warm-ups. I'm still going to go with her because I firmly believe that she has a bit of a pace advantage here over these, though we'll see what the other horse can do in here as far as maybe pressuring her a little bit, Amanda's Folly, but I think she's faster. She's meant to be faster. But a long shot that my eye just kind of kept going back to is number 1, Malibu Moonshine. I know. She has no race on paper that wins this. And really, her best races have come against restricted Maryland bred company, or at least races down in Maryland. But Charlie Baker has her looking phenomenal at the moment. I question the mile. She might not want to go quite this far, though she does have a win at it and 2 tries. But just really healthy, really moving well. And like, she's one of those long shots that maybe you throw in here underneath just because she gives the impression that she might be able to step up and run her best race. Greg.
Big price if you like her. She's the biggest price on the board.
I'm not locking long shots.
14 to 1.
I like short prices. I can't knock any of the short price in this race. I think they're the right 3 horses. I'm just hoping I'm right with Pretty Extreme. Though she is taking a lot of money, which maybe is a good sign for Pretty Extreme.
She was 4-1 morning line, but yeah, even that, it's Linda though taking over, so you expect to get money.
It's a much bigger price in doubles. It's about 5.5 to 1 in the double.
God, I have a hard time seeing it.
Okay, she may not run well.
5 to 2 now. Maybe she is doing that good. I mean, I love your angle.
It's something I've noticed over the years, that when Linda puts them in a spot where, like you said, I don't really see it, she's in there for a reason. She's not a trainer that takes a lot of chances. She mostly finds logical spots. And I'm sure she looked at this field, and she didn't need to run here. Her running here, to me, says the worst run. Well, it still may not be good enough to win.
Yeah.
And listen, if the 7 runs a race, but the 7 is very, very tepidly. Went down to 8 to 5, back to 9 to 5. And I'm certainly rooting for her connections, and I definitely hope she finishes second of the 2 here.
Loading up. Here we go. Our feature on this Friday card, the return. There in the background, Signal from Noise for Klarovich Stables, Chad Brown, and Arad Ortiz Jr. looking to notch another before he leaves for the weekend. Linda Rice being aggressive with Pretty Extreme. She's got a long shot Amanda's Folly next door. And there's Dame Cinco with Dylan Davis trying to back up a win at 6.5 furlongs, now trying to do it at a mile and go back to back. Let's go upstairs. Chris Griffin with the feature on this Friday card from Belmont at the Big A.
Goes in. All set. And they're off. Signal from Noise breaks well from that far outside draw, and in between horses, Dame Cinco's in the early mix with Amanda's Folly. That's the leading trio, and just off of them towards the inside, here's Malibu Moonshine with Pretty Extreme, second to last. Into Happiness, the trailer is toned up. They get set to hook up with the backstretch, and Dame Cinco's got the lead. Signal from Noise, mild pressure to the outside, wants to go, but is going to stalk this pace setter. These two now head and head. Amanda's Folly has worked to the center of the racetrack, is out in the center of the racetrack right now, tracking from third. At the rail, there's Malibu Moonshine and Pretty Extreme. They travel as a pair as they really slow down the pace. 23.48 was that opening quarter mile, but they start to crawl now as Dame Cinco and Signal from Noise. They control the tempo, and they do it easily. At the rail, there is Malibu Moonshine, Pretty Extreme. Amanda's Folly's 3 wide in that second group. 46.42 is that posted half-mile time. Into Happiness tries to rally on. The trailer is toned up. The front two still look like they're doing it easily. Dame Cinco to the inside. Signal from Noise is just waiting for the cue. Amanda's Folly is all in here in third. Into Happiness starts to rally on. Losing ground, Malibu Moonshine, Pretty Extreme. The trailer is still toned up. It's Dame Cinco still in front. Dame Cinco and Signal from Noise is ready to challenge the gray to the outside. The front two continue to clear off, and they are now 4-5 lengths in front of the rest. Dame Cinco and Signal from Noise. A match race here inside the final furlong. Dame Cinco to the inside. Signal from Noise to the outside. Dame Cinco just keeps finding more to the inside. Dame Cinco's almost there. Dame Cinco, Dylan Davis. They get the victory. Dame Cinco over Signal from Noise, Amanda's Folly, and toned up in 1 minute 35 and 3.
Dame Cinco the win. Signal from Noise. Maybe the race under her belt, able to finish next time and get by. We'll see. But Dame Cinco holds on this time.
She also had to play Dame Cinco's game, and maybe in doing that compromised her. But Dame Cinco was better than her today. No excuse really for Signal from Noise. And once my horse didn't do any running, these were really the only 2 horses in the race.
Yeah, it became a 2-horse race between the top 2 choices. Dame Cinco the 4, Signal from Noise the 7, sitting outside the entire way. And you thought right here she was about to kick in. At least I did.
I think they both ran. They both ran well. Just the 4, Dame Cinco, ran a little better, and she has a little more natural speed, which kind of gave her an advantage. But no, Signal from Noise had her chance to win. She's camped second best. I had a wrong Linda Rice horse. She actually, Amanda's Folly, showed a little life and running a distant third. My selection was awful.
5 and 3, by the way. And even though Signal from Noise doesn't get the win, I would think, you know, you always want to get your picture taken, but productive comeback effort.
Sure. You want to see them run well, and she did run well, and she'll probably run well next time she runs.
Broke outward a little bit out of the gate as well from that outside post. Didn't help things.
Second best.
2-1 second choice to win. Give me 5 with the win. Dutrow, Davis, Sandy Goldfarb. And we still got the nightcap to come. We'll give you these prices in a moment. There's Dylan. Got to feel good when you out-duel Rat Ortiz Jr. down the stretch. Give you a little confidence. 7th in Monmouth. Mile and a 16th on the turf in this New Jersey bred optional claiming race. We're a 9-5 favorite, the 4 Leo Monte, Gregory Sacco barn. One to beat right now, 6-time winner on the turf.
Sorry, yes, I agree. Leo Monte looks like the horse to beat. Maybe the 5 Irish Rill is the main contender here. Irish Rill's a big price at 7-1, right?
7-1 right now. This will be the 4-year-old debut. Yeah, this horse a player.
Yeah, I agree. Shouldn't be that big a gap. I agree the horse to beat, but I thought the 6-5 was the other horse. Public not agreeing. Where's Paulie?
We'll get him shortly. Ohana Empire. Did you see a case for the 9 outside at all?
I mean, I guess. The horse is a little slow for my taste. I'm not sure why that horse take on it. You like that horse more than I do?
I mean, I really think the 4 is the one to beat. Faced Leo Monte a long time ago and wasn't that far behind that one.
The 1's taken a lot of money, and that I do not see at all. I don't like this horse even a little bit. It's won a very slow maiden race with a perfect trip.
At least there's, I guess, upside.
Yeah, that's fair. Lightly raced.
Well, start number 2 is the turf debut for this horse.
Yeah, no, that's fair.
Joe Bravo for Mike Deeney. Son of Handsome Mike. Here's the 2, Steel Pure.
Well, Steel Pure is just way too slow based on the races that he's run.
Alpha Company. Jomar Torres, 17-1.
The better turf race he ran, which still not good enough, was a sprint. The route not good.
Yeah, it's not good at all. Here's the favorite at 7-5, Leo Monte.
Yeah, I mean, we talked about Leo Monte. He's consistently runs faster number than these, and he's a legitimate heavy favorite.
Irish Rill went by. Here comes Billy.
I guess his last race is good enough to give him a chance against some claimers. He's not impossible, but
he's only a half length behind Leo Monte a while back. Just Comply. We saw it 15-1. Here's Pal.
Sorry, a little distracted. Yeah, Pal's another one. Well, Pal's actually not that bad.
And Ohana Empire again.
Why is Pal almost 30-1? And I mean, the 9 has fast races, but you got to go ways back to find the fast races, right? The recent race is not that good.
The 6 a little interesting at 5-1. Favorite, though, it's the 4 Leo Monte. Let's get Paul's take.
Well, we'll start with the horse on the rail, the colt on the rail, the 1 by Handsome Mike. Actually, Handsome Mike was a very nice horse. This horse got on the turf the first time last time. I thought it was very professional. I'm with Andy, though. The horse got a very good trip, but could get a very good trip again today because he does show that he did show some tactical speed. So at 9-2, I guess that's the right price. I'd maybe want just a tiny bit more if I'm looking into that. The 5 horse in here, like you talked about, Andy, I thought had a look. The only worry is horse hasn't been seen since November of last year, but a filly by English Channel. English Channel's greatest triumph was here in the Breeders' Cup in 2005, and when he won the Breeders' Cup turf, you know, this horse has won some races, 1 for 9, and has run some good races. Actually been in front of Here Comes Billy, the 6 a couple times. I just think the 5's a player. Greg, your 9, I think, has a little bit of a look. It looks like the Sweezy Barn's starting to, you know, click a tiny bit in here. But at the end of the day, I look at Leo Monte, and the way the turf course is playing, I think that Paco Lopez goes to the front, and this is a giant drop in class for Leo Monte. Right now, you're getting 6-5. I would think by post time you're going to get around even money, it looks like right now. But I'm not giving you much here. I had 4-5-9, to be honest with you.
I mentioned the 9. I actually like the 6. Here comes Billy. This horse, so I just show, you know, I was talking about with Andy, faced Leo Monte, was second, beat only a half length to him with a troubled trip.
Well, I mean, I'd have to watch the race. You know, the running line suggests it's a perfect trip. No, listen, he still lost by half length to him. I know it says stumble, start, bumped. I don't go by chart calls. I want to watch the races because sometimes they say stumbled, and I watch them like, Well, not really. It was more of a bobble, and it was a bobble forward, so it didn't affect the horse, and then a bump. There's a replay of a horse that I watched. I think it's Sunday. I meant to tell you. I can't remember off the top of my head what it was. It said bump start. I watched the race. I don't think there was a horse within 3 feet of him of either side to start.
You got to do your homework.
You got to look at those things, but you got to watch the races.
There's the 607-1, and this horse just coming off a win last time out, too, off a short layoff.
No, I'm not.
When he was forward.
He ran one of his best races ever, and he ran well against Leo Monte, so I can see it. I'm not going to say, and that horse is a big price. So I tried 4 or 5. I bet a little 4 or 5.
Paco Lopez on Leo Monte, who has, was off a few months away, that performance last time out. So he could seemingly improve off that. That was against a little bit better, too. So no question, the one to beat. Back to Belmont at the Big A, and Dylan Davis, Rick Dutrow, and Dame Cinco out dual signal from Noise in her return for the victory.
Yeah, a well-earned victory. I mean, that was an honest pace. They were running up front, and these 2 horses, they were the best on paper, and they were the best on the racetrack.
2-1, 7th career win for Dame Cinco. 6-year-old mare has now put together back-to-back wins, 6.5 furlongs, and now at a mile. So she's going pretty good right now, and second beat a neck 4 starts ago. It's in pretty sharp form.
No, she's in terrific form for Rick Dutrow in the second win in the card and able to hold off Irad Ortiz.
Amanda's Folly, the other Linda Rice, completing the trifecta at 14-1.
Yeah, the other one. Mine, she's still running, but this one got it done. 2 favorites in reverse order.
Going to close things out on the turf, which we'll get to, but we go back to Monmouth. So even money now on Leo Monte. Drop in class, second off a short layoff. Certainly can be forward as well. Looks like probably going to control, right?
On paper, yes. Could the 7 apply some pressure, a horse stretching out?
Yes.
I guess that's the only potential pace presser.
That horse
doesn't go.
Speed.
Right. If that horse doesn't go, the 4 Leo Monte is long gone.
Let's look at Gold Trust, and that turf debut was a win. And start number 2, but first try on the grass back on June 1st.
Yeah, as you said, the horse is lightly raced and could certainly improve. But this horse has to improve. And for a horse that's the second choice, if you're going to bet horses to improve to win, you need to get paid. You're not getting paid taking 7-2 on this horse. I think this horse is an awful bet at 7-2 because I think he has to run a lot better than he did breaking his maiden to be a first or second in this race. But we'll find out if I'm right.
All right, we'll see if he can take that step forward here. Facing winners now for the first time off that turf debut to break his maiden. 4-1 from the rail. Even money Leo Monte, Gregory Sacco. Paco Lopez, again, 24% at the mean. That's just ridiculous.
Well, do you think he has a positive ROI, winning 1 out of 4?
Yeah. He gets. I mean, he gets
probably
bet
riding
like
a lot of short-priced horses.
He gets bet like Arad does.
Seems like he does. Does anyone get bet like Arad does? This is a phenomenon.
Matt Dinnerman with the call. Let's go to the 7th for Monmouth.
Ohana Empire steps in. We're ready to go. And Laruff. Alpha Company, the reins get shaken at him to get forward position. Just Comply on the outside. These 2 quickest as they come out of the chute. Just Comply outside snatches the lead. Alpha Company now takes a hold. He'll track from the 2nd spot. Irish Rill 3rd. Ohana Empire to the outside. Leo Monte in the 5th position on a hold. Here comes Billy, is next in the field. A gap of 3 to Gold Trust. Steel Pierce second to last. Just Comply drops to the back. Rather, that's Pal at the back. Just Comply is first. Just Comply is winging it on the lead. He's taken a hold of the bit and opened up 4 or 5 lengths approaching the backstretch run. Alpha Company happy to track. Ohana Empire, same can be said for him. Moving alongside Alpha Company in the swing up the backstretch. Then comes Irish Rill. Leo Monte getting off the rail. Joining Here Comes Billy. They're 4 better than Gold Trust. And at the back, it's Pal, Steer Peter alongside of him as they make their way to the half-mile pole. So they are halfway home, or just comply, and Jairo Rendon sail to a 4-length lead. Now it's 3, now it's 2. Ohana Empire getting closer on the tail of the leader, and now coming up to tackle him, and Ohana Empire goes to the front. Just comply after setting the fast pace, dropping back rapidly. Leo Monte takes the 2nd position, and the favorite is on the move after Ohana Empire, and these two get acquainted as they come off the turn. Ohana Empire hugs the inside and kicks on with Leo Monte, who's confidently ridden by Paco Lopez. Leo Monte down the stretch has the head lead. Ohana Empire trying to stick to him, but he's 2nd. Irish Rill is coming on down the inside with a ferocious rally. Leo Monte needs to quicken, but he does so. Irish Rill, though, has too much in the tank, blows past and wins. Irish Rill with a great ride by Gabriel Maldonado, giving him a 2-bagger today. Leo Monte 2nd, Photo for 3rd. Pal from the back of the pack was involved, and Ohana Empire was there as well.
Irish War Cry connections again. Isabel De Tomaso, owned and bred. Irish Rill with the win.
A very patient ride by Maldonado getting the win here. Leo Monte, I guess, ultimately moved a little soon. These races where somebody rushes off to a wild pace and opens up enormous leads, I think they're some of the hardest races to ride for jockeys, right? Because you want to make sure you're moving at the right time, and sometimes you just end up moving early. And while probably Leo Monte ran the best race, Irish Rill able to get the job done.
It's like Voodoo Song at Saratoga.
Yeah, Voodoo Song is not happy you said that.
He was one of my favorites.
Oh, yes,
please.
I know you love Voodoo Song.
Irish Rill with the victory. This was his 4-year-old return to the races.
The exacta is $11 for a buck. I had it for a few dollars.
9-2 winner here, Irish Rill, who gets his 2nd win on the grass. We're going to close things out on the grass back in New York with a $40,000 maiden claiming event. Mile and a 16th on the turf. And that's a look at Zen Air. There's the 5. We'll be back.
Buy in July. America's #1 ranked yearling sale by percentage of stakes winners, stakes horses, and 2-year-old winners. A catalog packed with precocious yearlings by the nation's best sires, plus a showcase of the freshman sires of 2024. Recent grads include Grade 1 winners Carson's Run, Candy, and Go Rocket Ride, with a growing list of graded stakes winners. The Fasig-Tipton July sale of selected yearlings, July 9th in Lexington, Kentucky. Where will you be?
The Factor, a perennial leading sire of winners. He was 3rd in the nation by winners in 2021 and 2022. His progeny include Grade 1 winners Sistron and Noted and Quoted, Grade 2 winner Charmaine's Mia, and Millionaires Bound for Nowhere. And factor this, with dozens of 6-figure yearling sales, he's a proven sire on the track and in the sales ring. The Factor, standing at Lane's End.
Monmouth Park summer season rolls on with live racing action every Friday to Sunday. Monmouth's 2023 season featured our highest average field size since 2015, the perfect recipe for a prolific payday. With a stakes race every Saturday and Sunday, plus our Winter Early Pick 5, Monmouth Park is your summer place to profit. Joining us on site? Lock in your odds with fixed odds wagering at Monmouth Park Racetrack.
Back on America's Day of the Races on Fox Sports 2. We got the nightcap coming up here, Belmont at the Big A, 12 minutes away from race number 9. Mile and a 16th on the turf favorite, the 11. Nostalgic one for Todd Pletcher, who drops back in for a tag, has previously been here.
Just so slow early, this horse.
Yes, new
Horse
gelding.
to beat. How about all the money? Maybe Maggie's got something to say on Bet a Go, Go, Go. Taking a ton of money. I thought the 3 and 9 were the fuzzies here.
Let's go to Maggie.
Yeah, Andy, I am totally with you when it comes to the 3 and 9, but let's check in with the horse who is favored, and that's Nostalgic One, who, like Andy, he's not my cup of tea. I do not like horses who lack any type of early speed. Now, he does come back as a new gelding, so sometimes that helps a horse get out of the gate a bit cleaner and more effectively to give them that more forward position. But while he looks fit here, he has done no growing. I mean, that was my biggest complaint about him, that he was a fairly petite and effeminate horse early on in his career. Then again, that goes in line with his pedigree, being a son of English Channel. Look, he could just win with that dropped out in mind, but I don't like his style, and I just wish there was some more forward progression with him from a physical standpoint. As we'll check in with number 3, yeah, Zen Air. And as the guys were talking about earlier with regards to another race, it pays to do your homework and watch replays, as this horse was carried insanely wide into the first turn. It took him all the way back to last. Then he tried to launch a run going about 3 wide around the turn, and then had to check at the quarter pole. So after all that, he got a little tired. It was his first start there at Tampa. He is coming back off of another layoff, but Zen Air does look fit to me, and so well composed and poised in the paddock. Just, acting like he's been here, done this plenty of times before, and in fact, he's actually never done it here at Aqueduct. So I like to see that, especially when a horse is shipping down too from Saratoga to participate. So I think Zen Air, very, very intriguing in this spot. Now, number 2, Bet a Go, 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 is trying the turf for the first time. They've tried last time, I believe, at Monmouth, and I do tend to like Cantharos' progeny on the turf. Now, the dam, she never won on the turf, but she handled it. There was 1 turf winner out of 6 siblings to try it. I will say this, though, this horse does physically look like he should like the turf. He checks every box when you're going through your laundry list of why a horse might like this switch of surfaces, and I see it with him, and he is taking quite a bit of money. On the other hand, there's a horse in here trying the turf for the first time who has a wildly impressive turf pedigree, and that's number 2, Papoose Laugh. Distorted Humor, he's okay going long on the turf, so with that in mind, I do like the stretch out in distance for this horse. He looks as though he should handle it quite nicely. More of that elongated frame, evenly built as well, from point withers to point of hip. And 2, this guy is a half to Get Jets, a multiple stakes winning New York bred who ran 100 Buyer speed figure on the turf as well, and he's great to take place, as well as Val Me Now, a stakes winner who went 8 for 15 on the turf. And there was also 4 other siblings to try it, and 2 of those others winning on it. So there's plenty of pedigree, there's plenty of looks for this horse to handle it. He looks fairly fit coming in off a bit of a layoff. Maybe would like him to look a bit stronger and more defined, but again, if he's gonna offer some value, he definitely has the looks and the pedigree, Greg, to say that he should appreciate the switch.
No. I picked the 9 in this race, Papoose Laugh, and obviously Maggie's correct. There is significant turf pedigree on the dam side. Distorted Humor is okay. But it's also these horses that couldn't run in the dirt. So there is a very real possibility that these horses only can run in the turf. So it's not just turf pedigree, it's significant turf move-up pedigree. That's why I like this one. I think the 3 and 9 are the 2 interesting horses in here. The number 11 may win this race. Maybe there's something up with the 2 as well. But the 11 is a real slowpoke. And, you could look at his one maiden 40 claimer. Maybe it was a tougher race in this, but he didn't do a lot of running and running 3rd in that race. And I think the 3 Zen Air, who does come out of a weak race at Tampa, but not as bad as the figure suggests. And this horse got an absolutely appalling trip. I mean, was 5 wide in the first turn, pushed 7 wide. Was 2 to 4 wide in the second turn. This horse actually ran a credible race in there, and horses have come back and improved their figures. So I don't think it's going to take an exceptional effort to win this race. So I think Zen Air and Papu's Laugh are the interesting, slightly better prices in here.
Yes, your favorite. I mean, he's going to come from so far back.
Just not. And this was. Yeah, go ahead.
In this condition before, and it did not pay dividends.
Now, the winner of this race was a ship-in put-over.
And this was the drop-down.
Right. This is last summer at Saratoga. But look at this horse. He sort of has dead aim. Okay, he's not going to catch the leader. But doesn't he have kind of dead aim to get second here? And he just lumbers. Look at him. He's lumbering along. It's like... the horse that got second, I think Tom Morley trained the second place finisher, was a big long shot in here. The winner was a ship-in, wise guy horse that made a lot of sense. But he's going to win when nobody else can run. And the way the 2's getting bet suggests maybe he can run, and I think both the 3 and 9 are interesting. Though 6 to 1 on the 9 is preposterous, and that's probably a trainer who likes his horse a lot.
There goes my Miracle, kicks things off in the post parade, 0 for 31.
Hey, the last race was good enough to compete.
It was. Bet a go, 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 Eddie Barker.
First time on the grass. The dam ran okay on the grass. She was 1 turf winner at a 6 to try it. The money says they like, but Eddie Barker's been known to like his horses as well.
Make your case for Zen Air.
I did. Terrible trip last time in a race a little better than it looks for wise guy Roy Lehrman.
Let's see, Go Lucky, blinkers on.
Don't see it off the 1 turf race.
Matoli's Diamond turf debut.
No turf pedigree to speak of, though the second dam did run second 3 times in 7 starts.
50 to 1 on dirt in the debut for Lolita Shivmango. The 6, Comanche Peak.
Eased in 1 turf race at 54 to 1.
Juan Bernardini trains. The 7, El Alacron for Tom Morley.
This horse has fallen apart seemingly since claimed away from Jose Camejo.
Gonna be forward early if nothing else. Fluorescent Bay, big price. Robbie Davis trains.
Yeah, just doesn't done any running really.
Papu's Laugh, Carlos Martin, turf debut.
Yeah, I think this horse is interesting. I think 6 to 1 is a big underlay.
33 to 1 here on Smooth and Easy.
Yeah, the 1 turf race just doesn't put this horse in hunting distance.
5th beat nearly 10 lengths that day. Nostalgic one, there's the favorite.
And maybe he'll just find a field that nobody else can run and he'll win.
And there's Flavian Pratt for Shug McGahee on a drop down.
And a horse did no running at this level in the debut at 6 furlongs. And then they tried stretching out in special weights, did absolutely no running. Main Beach was second, won at Monmouth, but we'll have to improve a lot. But it's that kind of field. And then the 9 at 5 to 1, I'm going to cancel my win bet on the 9 at 5 to 1. I'm not betting that horse at 5 to 1.
Yeah, so that race, he comes out of Oxford Union. He's interesting, I think. Main Beach was second, beat a neck, and we just saw him win for Chad Brown coming back. So somewhat productive race. Get signed up, started, play with Naira Bets. That's the code for new members, match 200. And bet any track, anywhere, anytime right there at NairaBets.com.
You know what else is really exciting? In just over 20 minutes, we can be in the air conditioning.
It's gotten a lot better up here.
It's not bad. Got a little breeze here. There's a lot of hot air in the set, but we're getting a little breeze going on.
A little warm in the studio today, but I'll take it.
It's okay. Better in the summer than the winter.
This horse just seemingly is going to have a lot to do. Is going to need a trip. Not to say he can't.
There are better short-priced horses to bet than this horse. You're counting on nobody liking the turf. You're counting on the pace to be good enough for him to make his run. He's coming off a layoff. I know it's Todd Pletcher, it's Irad Ortiz, but and he's run fast enough to beat these horses. So he's got the PPs, but he's a bit of a slow poke, and there's a lot of unknowns in here. So he isn't overly appealing at a short price, but he could certainly win. Pick the race 9-3-11.
He's going to need a few to duke it out up front, isn't he?
Well, you would think that the 7's going to go, and you would think the way the 2's getting bet with sprint speed, the 2 will probably be in front. And man, they're betting the 2, huh?
Good chance, too. He's going to lose a lot of ground from that post.
Well, he's got the right pilot to find some position. So, yes, it's not a good post, but still, you're right. I mean, just because you're Irad, sometimes Irad gets caught wide because there's nothing he can do about it. if there's enough speed, he has to hope not only is there a lot of pace because he's a deep closer, but also it spreads the field out. And the more the field spreads out, the easier it is to get to the 2-path on the first turn. He doesn't need to be on the rail, though that would help. But if he could get to the 2-path, that would be fine, probably. He's got to run. He's got to hope that the 2, first timer on the turf getting bet, the 3, the 9. Got to hope none of these horses can run.
Let's go back to Maggie.
And like you said, he's got to hope that there's some hitting up front. I do think the 2, Better Go Go Go, is probably going to show some speed along with El Alacran. I think they only have one way of going, so maybe he does get the right setup. But a horse that's breaking 1 to his outside, a nostalgic one, is number 12, Oxford Union for Shug McGahee, second off that really extended layoff. Now, obviously, I didn't see him down at Monmouth back on May 19th, but he still looks a little heavy to me. Looks as though he gets into his feet type quite nicely. Not a bad looking type by any means, but just feel like this is a horse that's still in need of racing into fitness. Warmed up well though. It definitely caught my eye more once he hit the racetrack here for Shug and the team. But I'm gonna go with number 3, guys, Zen Air. I just thought that race, when you watch it, hinted at ability with a lot of trouble, and I loved his presence heading in to his second start.
Yeah, see what happens. 5-1, one of the elite riders in the game from that outside post here. And definitely getting easier company, you would think. 5-1.
I just, the problem I have with that horse has never done any running. Now, this is not a good field, and I'm not dissuading anybody from betting horse flagrant prices, but I'm sorry, this horse has never done a stitch of running his races, and in turf races, you can do no running and get respectable figures. This horse is not for me, and I love Flavien Prat.
So a nostalgic one has been favored throughout. We'll see if gelding this horse can make a difference. Coming back now as a 4-year-old. It did hit the board. That's the thing, too. I mean, even when he hit the board, it was just a long marathon race at 1.5 miles. Horse just, it's going to be so far back.
So Manny is on the 3. He's on the 3. Wow, that's a big switch.
Yeah.
Okay.
8-1 Zen Air. See if he can improve off that Tampa debut against Maiden Claiming. And Better Go 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 has continued to take money here, the 2.
Yeah. Eddie Barker is frequently, when you see Eddie, and I like Eddie a lot, so this is not, but I'll say, what do you think of your horse today? He'll say, I love him. So my guess is Eddie likes this one a lot, and I wish him good luck. Good
and again,
guy.
look, again, 21-1 on the one who just got beat a neck running second at Tampa.
I mean, the horse is 0 for 31, a little hard to like, but not a hard horse to use in your triples or supers. As the rider's off the 5, Louis Rivera.
That's the Matoli, who's a huge price stepping in. Gate open on that one, and the horse next door, Comanche Peak, to try and coax in that son of Frankel. It was 54-1 with all kinds of issues going on in that race for him. Luis Rivera about to hop back aboard. Well, let's go to Chris Griffin. Here's the nightcap. Belmont at the Big A, race 9.
Oxford Union stepping forward. And in. All set. And they're off. Zen Air has early speed. It's Zen Air towards the front with Better Go 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 in the early mix. At the rail, there goes My Miracle, and there goes My Miracle, and Better Go Go Go. Those two now head and head. Just off of them is going to be El Alacran, is now tracking from the 3rd spot, now challenging and takes 2nd as the leaders don't want to push too hard. And El Alacran and John Velasquez will now assert and take the front, followed by Papu's Laugh towards the outside. So they bandy back and forth, but the leader is El Alacran, who's got the lead, is up by a full length. There to the outside, not cornering well, was Papu's Laugh. Now straightens up from second at the rail. Bet a go, go, go. Didn't want the front end. Is back to third. At the rail, there goes My Miracles in fourth. Is tracked to the outside by Comanche Peak, who's now in fifth. In between horses, here comes LC Go Lucky is progressing. Has taken sixth. To the outside, Oxford Union's in seventh. At the rail, that's Zen Air, who broke with the leaders, is back there in eighth. Towards the tail end, Nostalgic One. Second to last is going to be Smooth as Easy. Then another runner comes Fluorescent Bay. Far, far back, that's going to be Matoli's Diamond, who's far back, 15 off the lead. They work up the backstretch, 48-3. That half-mile time, El Alacran is 5-1, has got the lead and takes him into the far turn. El Alacran does it nicely. Papu's Laugh is right there engaged to the outside from second. Bet a go, go, go is looking for a seam right there in third. Under drive, Comanche Peak. The big long shot is ranging up on the far outside. Nostalgic One is rolling, but very wide. They reach the top of the lane. Papu's Laugh has come to the outside of El Alacran trying to challenge. Down to the inside, there goes My Miracle. Bet a go, go, go. On the far outside, Comanche Peak is rolling. Nostalgic One's got a ton of momentum as well. It's Comanche Peak to the outside of Betta. Go, go, go. Here comes Nostalgic One catching with every single stride. Nostalgic One to the outside of the big long shot in Comanche Peak. Nostalgic One puts his on by. Nostalgic One will get the victory over Comanche Peak. Then came Betta Go, go, go for the show. And then another photo came Smooth and it's easy. Final running time, 1 minute 45 seconds flat.
Nostalgic One, Arad Ortiz Jr., Todd Pletcher owns this one as well. Mom just gets up a time.
8-5. Got a wicked fast pace. Got up to win by a head over a 56-1 shot. I'm going to say that is not included in the wins like an 8-5 shot should. But you got the money. They got a fast pace. I mean, Romero really wanted to go the 9. Actually, you know, ran really well. How about the 7, Alacran for Tom Morley? That horse didn't fold to the last strides and actually finished 4th. But it was the number 11, Nostalgic One, who got that fast pace he needed. And believe me, he needed every bit of that fast pace to get it done.
56-1 shot, nailed at the wire.
2 ran pretty well, too.
Which would have been, wow, almost 34,000 in the pick 6. Well, the prices when we come back.
The best 2-year-old by legendary sire Quality Road.
Hit back, $1.5 million.
Very, very impressive debut. Cantering home could not have been more impressive.
Coast to coast in the American Pharaoh. He's the real deal.
Undefeated and unchallenged at 2.
He's just too good. He wins the Breeders' Cup Juvenile.
Corniche.
Back on America's Day of the Races, and the 8th from Monmouth Park, maiden special weight, 6 furlong sprint, 3-year-olds and up.
I want to know what Paulie thinks about this move with the 1. What do you do with a horse that's been a turf router that suddenly Shug McGay is running 6 furlongs on the dirt? And this horse
Second
is
to
favored.
program trading.
I would never bet this horse a short price. I wonder if Paulie has some different insight.
Well, you know, and Andy, I'm kind of with you. I don't know how you could take this horse at 2-1. And to be honest with you, the favoritism just shifted to the 5, Confiscated, who did run the best last race last time in Philadelphia at Parks. But, you know, the 1 in here, I don't know if there's buzz in the morning that this horse has been working well over the dirt, but you have, 8 lifetime starts on the turf with, 4 seconds, and now you're going to go sprinting on the dirt. And they're betting this horse with purpose, still staying at 2-1, which I kind of don't get in here, but I just think he's a play against. If he beats me, he beats me. Now, the 5 in here, Confiscated, is the one to beat. I mean, good race last time out. Going to have to repeat that. Son of Arrowgate, we know how good Arrowgate was, and he should get better with a little extra half furlong, going 6 furlongs. So I thought he was dangerous in here, and I'll tell you right now, the 3 is the dangerous horse, and that's what I put my money on in here. This is a horse, first time gelding, gets Lasix, Terry Pompey. This horse showed speed against maiden special weights at Gulfstream Park. I have a feeling this horse has looked wound up, looked like a little gray, pocket gray, and I think this horse is going to try to rush this field to the front end. I like the 3 in here at 4-1. I know the 5's the horse to beat, but I just can't bet the 1 at all. I was 3-5, 5-3 in here, guys.
So Confiscated, debut at Parks. Kathleen Damazi, start number 2 coming up, and Coast Along. 8 starts, all on grass, pretty much all of them routing. Now going to try sprinting on the dirt for Shug McGahee. Matt Dinnerman with the call. Here's the 8th from Monmouth.
2 back, Confiscated. Luca Il Cavallo to the outside. We're ready to go. And they're off. Luca Il Cavallo, the first-time starter, off slowly. Confiscated had no problem, showing speed today. Also, Maxi Match is there, coasting along down on the inside, not far off as well. They're battling on the front end here. Maxi Match with a narrow lead, Coast Along to the inside, moving up willingly, and takes the lead with a good gallop now. Coast Along on top by just a neck. Maxi Match right there. Live Happy is 3 deep. Confiscated off of them in the 4th position, 3 behind, charging into the turn. A big space of 5 or 6 to hold out, and Luca Il Cavallo is well out of it as they round the 4th turn. Coast Along still in control. Confiscated making a bid towards the front runners as they round the 4th turn. Maxi Match has called it a day. Live Happy's trying to stick around between horses. He's in with a shot. 3 runners across the track, and now Coast Along has come off the bridle. Confiscated kicks on with Live Happy. Coast Along retreats to 3rd, and the final furlong, Confiscated looks best of that trio and kicks away from the other pair. Coast Along has tried hard today, gets back into the bridle, reclaims 2nd, but he will not win. That's Confiscated's job today, and he does it well. Confiscated over Coast Along. Live Happy 3rd, hold out 4th.
Confiscated with the win. Kathleen Damazi, 2nd-time starter, shipping in from Parks.
Yeah, this horse was the fastest horse on Figs on dirt and got the job done with a good trip here. Coast Along actually ran fine to be 2nd. Looked to be hopelessly beaten top of the stretch and actually re-rallied, or the 4 Live Happy stop just sort of stopped. But he got 2nd. I'm not going to say that Shug got this horse wrong, but at least he ran a respectable race, so it was not a bad move, dropping into 6 furlongs. Just 2nd best here to Confiscated.
Again for Kathleen Damazi. Meanwhile, back in New York, closed things out on the turf, and a nostalgic one, dropping back in for Maiden 40 once again, and this time finally breaks the maiden here in the 4-year-old return.
Yeah, gets it done at 8-5. He didn't just find the right field here. He also got a very fast pace, relatively speaking. They went 23 and change, and they got that separation he needed to get the right trip here, and he ground out the victory. Both the 2 and 7, who were both forward, ran very respectable races to run 3rd and 4th, respectively. But The 11 gets it done. A very tough beat if you had the long shot. The number 6 horse in this race, Comanche Peak. He was not an easy one to have. Wow. Wow.
You don't see many owned by Todd.
Well, it's Todd and his, I believe that's his
Stepmother.
mother. Oh, stepmother?
Yeah.
Okay.
2,692 in the pick 6. $5.30 for the win, holding off that 56 to 1 shot. How different things could have been in the pick 5 and the pick 6.
If I had to spend 3.5 hours in a very warm room, I can't think of anybody I'd rather have done it with than you, Greg.
I appreciate that.
We had a good time.
We fought through it, didn't we?
It was fun.
And for once, we had the tough conditions, not Maggie.
That's right. She did. That's right.
Who did a great job again as well.
Yeah, of course.
Another fun afternoon. We're back at it again tomorrow, 12:30 to 6 on our Fox Sports 2 coverage. And among other things, we're going to see her in a moment again, but that wild applause, interesting race.
Fun race. Yep, 11 race card tomorrow. I'll be hosting early. Keisha's out this week. You know what Keisha's doing?
No.
She's judging the Miss Connecticut contest.
Is she? Okay.
She is.
Former winner, right?
Yes, absolutely.
Galabrand returning, beat the boys last summer, Saratoga, and the With Anticipation. We'll see her in the wild applause for her 3-year-old debut coming up on our Saturday coverage. That'll be race 10, 5:13 Eastern time.
Was I on camera looking
You
at my
were.
phone? Oh, good move, Andy. Sorry.
Dame
I was looking at the train to see if we could catch the train. Apologize
Dame
for that.
Cinco with the victory for the Dutrow Barn. Irish Rill in the silks of those who brought us Irish War Cry. And we see Galabrand back again tomorrow. That's in the wild applause. We'll see you on our Saturday coverage again, 12:30 Eastern start time.
At Three Chimneys, our name is our promise. Our commitment to quality, our customer, and most importantly, the horse is at the heart of who we are. For over half a century, the Storage Stallion Station and Nursery have been a place where dreams are born. From Horse of the Year, the mighty Seattle Slew, to Horse of the Year and modern-day breed shaper Gunrunner, we've been defined these past 50 years by the company we've kept. Three Chimneys, where dreams are born.
These New York bred foals represent many sires: War Dancer, Salamini, Honest Mischief, Central Banker. But they all have one thing in common. Starting in 2026, they'll be running for the same purse money as Open Company 2-year-olds at Naira Tracks. That's nearly 20% more than they run for now. Learn more about it at nybreds.com.
It's America's original sport, and no one covers it better than americasbestracing.net. From the sport to the lifestyle, the best races, horses, and destination venues, cocktails, gambling, fashion, and more. americasbestracing.net is a sport for you.
Racetrack Television Network brings you every race, from every track, on every screen, every day. With monthly packages starting as low as $5, RTN gives you great value and access to more live HD streaming and race replays than anyone. Visit RTN.tv today to sign up and watch on almost any device, including Roku and Amazon Fire. RTN has packages that start at $5 per month.